Celestial Vegito was defeated. Both Goku and Vegeta are dead now. The Grand Priest has initiated the destruction of Universe 7. Several galaxies have already been destroyed in the meantime, with countless races being exterminated. At the rate things are going right now, it would only take about another 30 minutes before everything about Universe 7 is returned to nothing but a single point, the singularity. Unfortunately, no one there could do anything about it. Omni Goku and Omega Vegeta fought to their deaths. Broly tried as well, but instantly got incapacitated, and Gohan and Piccolo have accepted their fate. This looks like the end this time. But just when about 70% of Universe 7 was destroyed, a certain someone emerges before them. It's the Dragon God Zalama, and he has made an appearance for the first time in 7 million years. Now, what will the fate of Universe 7 be? What is this proposal Zalama wishes to speak of, and what will happen to Goku and Vegeta now that they're both dead? Zalama's emergence strikes a chord in Piccolo. He's taken aback, simply surprised beyond words right now. Gohan is puzzled as well, with Broly still unconscious. But the warriors of the 12th universe can't believe their eyes. It's been forever since they last saw him. "Brother, it's a pleasure to see you again," Karada expresses himself. "I'm glad you're well, Karada, though it seems you still haven't given up on reviving your universe," Zalama replies. "Indeed, but we were too foolish to consider the thought of crowning one of us as the new Omni King," Karada states. "I see. I'm glad you realized it before doing something irreversible. This young man here meddled with the ritual and has suffered an unimaginable level of psychological torture. That power isn't anyone's to meddle with," Zalama replies. "Hey Zalama, I didn't know you had a brother," the Grand Priest questions. "Well, no, we aren't actually blood related. It's a long story, but let's just say I was too moved by the circumstance of Karada's birth to just let him wither away. I decided to take him in. Well, that aside, Universe 7 sure has grown ever since I last saw it. I guess I should also pay Super Shenron a visit before we carry out this proposal," Zalama states. "Now wait, I'm not going to entertain any of your funny ideas. This universe will be destroyed. I'll also have to take a look at the other universes to see if they need purging as well or not. It's just been one thing after another," the Grand Priest says, with this razor-sharp look in his eyes. He definitely wasn't in the mood for some unfunny joke. "You seriously think I'll come all the way here after 7 million years just to make a joke? I am dead serious, man. This needs to happen," Zalama replies. "Well, let's hear it," the Grand Priest says. "I'll continue the destruction after I'm done with you, I suppose." Back during the first age of the multiverse, when it wasn't divided into different universes, I had a vision. I foresaw 7 universes. It seems now is the best time to realize that vision. Let's work together to create a new age, oh Grand Priest. It's about time each universe is given an equal status. Every universe should have a mortal level of above 7, Zalama firmly states. "Of all things, you chose this?" the Grand Priest replies, agitated. "Isn't that just your obsession with the number 7? It's absurd. 4 more universes will have to be erased after I'm done with this one. I won't destroy anything that doesn't warrant destruction, however. It's my duty as the mediator." "Calm down, hear me out first. It's not about destruction," Zalama states. "What I'm talking about is evolution. For now, we have Universe 1 and 12 as the 2 ultimate universes, 5 and 8 as the balanced universes, and then the rest." "What are you implying?" the Grand Priest asks. "Isn't it obvious? Let's merge each pair of universes together except 1 and 12. This way each universe will end up with a mortal level above 7, and there will be 7 in total. I also have a plan of evolving Super Shenron into Omni Shenron. Naturally, the 7 Omni Dragon Balls will be spread across the 7 universes. The multiverse will experience a terrific advance of mortal level. What do you say, am I a genius or what?" Zalama casually replies. Everyone who was witnessing this conversation was downright exasperated. The Dragon God was actually implying to manipulate the string nature and merge 2 entire universes together. This was insane. For once, even Whis was shocked beyond words. Same goes for the Grand Priest. He was about to reply ruthlessly, but then pauses and considers it for a moment. Such a sudden yet great change would more than make up for the instability caused by Goku and Vegeta. It's probably the best possible solution considering the current turn of events. The Grand Priest approaches Zalama. looks him right in the eye and just bursts into laughter. Seeing this, Zalama grins. Gohan and Piccolo couldn't put this into words, but hearing Zalama's proposal and the Grand Priest's laughter, they suddenly felt an odd current run down their spines. A chemical reaction triggered inside their brains, telling them that there may still be a tomorrow for them, and for Universe 7. Alright, Zalama. Using that much energy would probably put me to sleep for millions of years. It's a tough decision to make, but still I suppose a better option than what I was considering. I guess I'll take care of the amalgamation. You go take care of good old Super Shenron. Guess Whis will be the one looking after Zeno-sama while I'm asleep, the Grand Priest states. Wait, Grand Priest, Zalama states. I feel bad for Zenith, but we can't have two Zeno-samas coexisting at the same point in time either. I humbly suggest the Potara fusion or the Omni Key will emerge right away once again, Zalama says. His words were intense. Everyone present could hardly hold their breath in his presence, and yet he was still making sure to make them choke with these heavy statements. Hearing this, the Grand Priest simply nods and faces towards the Zeno duo. Zeno-sama, I am sorry to impose, but would you be willing to become one with the future Zeno? It's necessary, the Grand Priest requests, his expression dripping with seriousness. As for Zenith, he was glad to see his younger brother just joking around while enjoying this chaotic battle. He recalls the legend of their early days before the current age of the multiverse. Zenith and Zeno used to have a lot of fun exploring different planets and playing games. Though as they grew older, Zenith developed an insane thirst for power and battle. He challenged strong individuals, and before long, he became so strong that he'd have to traverse through the universe just to find a worthy opponent. It was during this voyage that he came across Yamoshi. Little did he know that while he was away, however, Zeno was also growing at an insanely fast pace. His strength came from unparalleled innocence and naiveness. Unfortunately, Zenith was away for a long while, and we're talking about thousands of years here. During that time, he made worthy allies such as Amarak, Katara, and even Yamoshi, but also made a lot of enemies and destroyed hundreds of thousands of genuinely strong warriors. Though it wasn't just his own fault. It's safe to say he played a large role in lowering the mortal levels of a few universes. Eventually, the power of the Omni King emerged within a certain individual. That's right. That's when Zeno became the Omni King. Throughout the 18 universes, Zenith's brother seemed to have the perfect disposition to inherit this power. The multiverse required Zeno's childish naiveness to enter the new age. By the time Zenith returned to his home planet, it was already too late. The Grand Priest was there. In fact, he was the one who asked Zeno to test out the Omni Key. Right in front of him, his brother erased 6 entire universes. Katara's Universe 17 was erased, but he survived because he was originally a being who came from outside the multiverse to begin with. Amarak was a warrior of Universe 12 who had made plenty of genuine friendships with those in all of the neighboring universes, but seeing how they were all just wiped out, Amarak was decimated. As for Zenith and Zeno, their universe was 13. It was the first to be wiped out of existence. Zenith's consciousness alone survived the purging, not because he managed to figure out something at the final moment, but because he and Zeno had the same blood. That caused the discrepancy, which resulted in the total separation of his mind from his body. An empty shell remained behind. He couldn't do anything about it. Millions of years had passed at this point and he still can't do anything. Such is the fate of one revered as the Omni King, the single greatest authority in all of the universes. But unbeknownst to him, Zeno answers the Grand Priest's call quite calmly. Will it be interesting, Zeno asks. Yes, of course, I reckon. The multiverse will be entering the most interesting time period yet, the Grand Priest states. The two Zenos look at each other, do a high five, and prepare themselves for this fusion. Zalama presents them with the ultimate Potara earrings that he himself had on for whatever reason. Zeno takes one and future Zeno takes the other, and the legendary fusion begins. Wait, it's been 5 minutes, Whis asks. Why haven't they come out of the fusion yet? Well, that's because anything involving Omni Key takes time to mature, Whis. In this particular case, I don't think Zeno-sama will come out of that fusion until we're done with the restructuring of the multiverse, the Grand Priest says. meaning with this fusion, the multiverse was already changing. Now, I have one more favor to ask you, Zalama says. What is it? The Grand Priest replies. I'm going to revive these two Saiyans, he states. This angers the Grand Priest, however. Not a chance. Their existence alone will cause problems again. Why do you want to revive them? I have a Saiyan back there who seems to be itching for some good rivals. Besides, I was watching everything and began to take a liking to them. Don't worry, I'll be taking them back with me, Zalama states. Hearing this, the Grand Priest simply replies, Listen, Zalama, these two won't be revived. I have always been against the idea of revival. A death is a death. Plus, that Omni Key is still dormant within Goku's body. A revival would flip everything we've just done on its head. Though for old time's sake, I guess you may take their souls. I see. That's reasonable, Zalama replies back. Then, just as Gohan and Piccolo clench their fists in patience, Goku and Vegeta's soul emerge from nothing. Whoa, I thought I was really done there for a moment, Goku says. He looks around and catches Zalama. This encounter causes him to pause immediately. Hey, have we met somewhere before, he says? Oh yeah, you asked me for that wish back in the realm of nothing, remember? The wish to eat as much as you want? I gotta say, I wasn't expecting you to be so straightforward, Zalama says, laughing. Goku is thrilled after hearing this reply, as he does his usual thank you pose and asks, but who are you? You're giving off an aura just as intense as the Grand Priest. Vegeta was, of course, also there, just as puzzled, wondering how things worked out this way. Alright, I guess I could tell you. You too, Namekian, listen closely. This will change your understanding of the multiverse, Zalama states while glancing at Piccolo as well. In actuality, there are some realms that exist outside of the multiverse. Some folktales refer to them as higher dimensions or myths even, but they are indeed very real. First, we have the Angel's Realm, and then an anarchy of several different realms. The Grand Priest doesn't like this term, but I choose to call it Universe Zero. Naturally, Piccolo, Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, and of course Broly, who had just only regained his consciousness, are all baffled. Are there other strong people out there, Vegeta asks? Yes, very strong. Some of them are folks who were banished from the multiverse just for being too strong, Zalama says. There's also a Saiyan like you guys with an unusual beginning. I'll tell you, among all the opponents who have chosen to challenge me ever, he ranks among the top 5 at the very least. He's even stronger than that celestial form you guys used. Naturally, Vegeta is all ears when he hears the topic is Saiyans, and Goku and the others were listening just as closely as well. Wait, does that mean there's an entire Saiyan race in Universe Zero, Vegeta asks? Well, it's a long story, Zalama continues, but to put it simply, back when 6 universes were erased, there was a Saiyan named Yamoshi whose son was about to be born. It was a critical moment. His entire universe was about to be erased and he could intuitively feel the end. At that moment, all his thoughts were focused on how to make sure his son stays alive. That's when, just like you, Vegeta, Yamoshi instinctively used the reverse string entanglement technique and used it on his son. His universe was erased in that very instant, but his son Shishido miraculously popped up on a quiet planet in Universe Zero. It's been millions of years since he appeared, and you bet, he's a mutant when it comes to growing stronger, Zalama replies. I have to fight this guy, Goku says in the heat of the moment. Yeah, me too, says Vegeta. This causes Zalama to just burst into laughter. It's not every day that you see something so ironic. These two had just lost so miserably to the Grand Priest, and yet they were already looking for a new opponent. My hunch was right, you two are too interesting to just let wither away into nothingness, Zalama says. Well then, I have some business to take care of with Super Shenron, but let me just warp you two outside the multiverse. Let's see, how far will your ladder go, Zalama says. Goku faces Gohan one last time, pats his shoulder and says, Gohan, I guess this is our final goodbye. Studying is good, but don't forget to train your body, son. I leave everything to you now, Gohan. Take great care of your mother. Gohan gets goosebumps as Goku's words had the utmost sincerity. I declare this as your son, father. It doesn't matter if we merge with Universe 6, I, Gohan, will become the strongest warrior in this entire universe, Gohan sternly declares. I'm looking forward to it, Goku replies. What's this talk about merging with Universe 6? I didn't hear any of that, Vegeta expresses confused. Well, apparently Lord Zalama proposed the idea of merging the weaker pair of universes together, Piccolo answers. I'm not sure what that means, but it looks like we Saiyans will have a stronghold again. Saying this, Vegeta looks at Broly and he simply gives Vegeta a thumbs up. There was no need to say anything, their pride was already aware of each other's intentions. Vegeta also takes a glance at Gohan and is further reassured. Looks like the future is bright for us Saiyans as well, finally. Then, Zalama himself comes face to face with Piccolo. I can see it in your eyes, young man. You want to ask me a lot of things. Just know I am not nearly as spectacular as the myths may make me out to be. I am simply a remaining warrior from the ancient dragon race, and you, my friend, are one of the races who descended from me. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll create a dragon even greater than my creation, Zalama tells Piccolo. I'm glad I got the chance to see you, Lord Zalama. I am grateful, Piccolo expresses himself. Instead of kneeling or acting nervous, he returns Zalama's respect by respectfully looking him straight in the eyes as well. And just like that, Zalama is about ready to warp Goku and Vegeta's souls outside of the multiverse. Wait, Dragon God, where can I find this Shishido Saiyan you speak of? Vegeta asks. Well, it seems he's in the angel realm actually, Zalama replies, but I'd be careful trying to deal with him though, he can be a rowdy one, Zalama says. This statement gave Goku and Vegeta a new goal now, to seek and surpass Shishido, the son of Yamoshi. And to that end, their destination for now was the Angel's Realm. Though before they could be warped outside the multiverse, Vegeta faces the Grand Priest and states his final words. Listen, O Grand Priest, I will never forget this day. It doesn't matter if it takes 10,000 years or 1,000,000 years, I will come back and I will defeat you. That is an oath, a testament to my Saiyan pride, he says. Just like that, the two Saiyan warriors were on their way to Universe 0, and they are about to be pleasantly surprised by the insane number of insanely strong individuals in this, for lack of better words, lawless cosmos. The Grand Priest, however, the difference was simply just too big. No matter what they did, it was all for naught. The Grand Priest always seemed infinitely stronger than them, but when defeat meant the complete erasure of Universe 7 and victory was improbable, the final card and the one that helped the Z-Fighters persevere through many dreadful situations in the past was the fusion. It was time for Vegito once again. Death is inevitable, but if they can just make the Grand Priest take back the decision to revert Universe 7 back to nothingness, then that's enough success for them. That'd be the best case scenario, and so Vegeta entrusts Broly with whipping the other Saiyans into shape. But even the fusion of Omni Goku with the newly evolved Destroyer Vegeta wasn't enough to make the Grand Priest hinge. Celestial Vegito is effortlessly defeated. In his final moments, when Goku and Vegeta are separated, Goku's mind was already numb. The chaos of Omni Ki exhausted everything out of him, while Vegeta spits blood as he tells the Grand Priest about the day he'll somehow return and destroy him. The Grand Priest shrugs it off, of course, but right before Vegeta closes his eyes, he sees a vision of what could be referred to as Super Saiyan Infinity. So after Lord Zalama puts forth his proposal to put into place a new multiversal infrastructure, he conveniently saves Universe 7 from absolute doom. The rest of Universe 7 is merged with Universe 6 from there on out. Broly goes to planet Sadala, Piccolo leaves on a journey, while Gohan and the others keep the Earth's peace. As for Goku and Vegeta, their souls are banished from the multiverse and sent straight to an independent and lawless realm called Universe 0. And so, both Goku and Vegeta open their eyes into an independent domain, a region that is mutually exclusive from the known universes, the vast unknown. Hey Kakarot, where are you? Vegeta asks. I'm right here. Wait, who turned off the light? Goku replies. This is insane, I can't see or much less feel anything. Did we even get our bodies back? Where's this instruction manual? Vegeta says. Sure enough, reality around them was endlessly dark, but for Goku there was something nostalgic about this. The two lament about what to do until Goku recalls a memory from back when he was in the void. Those 12,000 years he spent in the void are all drilled into his subconsciousness. Sooner or later, the suppressed memory of that darkness is gonna show up, but for now, all he can think about is finding a way to turn on some light in here. That's it, Goku says. Listen, Vegeta, how about we try radiating ourselves? Universe Zero may be somewhat different from back home, but it isn't as if we can't power our way through darkness. Let's fill this energy with our own light. What's with this poetry? Well, whatever, I was planning on doing the same. Let's go, I'll impose myself on this universe, Vegeta states. Just like that, the two of them unleash their strongest possible transformations. Goku can't use the Omni Key, but the enhanced clarity he acquired after breaking out of the void had earned him something else. The ability to use Super Saiyan Blue and Mastered Ultra Instinct simultaneously. The combination can be referred to as Super Saiyan White from here on out. As for Vegeta, he lost his Destroyer Key, but the growth he had during the battle with Omni Goku, Zenith, and then the Grand Priest is all very much still there. Goku is no longer Omni Goku, but Vegeta is very much still Omega Vegeta. Together, they radiate all nearby reality and effectively bring their bodies back into existence. What the hell, Kakarot? You were stronger back during the battle with the Grand Priest, Vegeta laughs. Give me a break, Vegeta. At least I haven't used the name Omega. What are you gonna do if you get a better transformation? Name it Omega Vegeta 2 or something? That isn't gonna make any sense, Goku mocks back. Well, I have had a premonition that I'll soon obtain the impossible and surpass even the Grand Priest. I'll achieve Super Saiyan Infinity, Vegeta boldly declares. Wait, that name actually sounded pretty cool, Goku replies. They continue to bicker about who will get to infinity first, and then Goku notices a planet right above them. Since there's nowhere else to go, the two decide to head there first. Oddly enough, once they get closer, they can instinctively sense a source of light other than them. It still isn't visible, but it's there on the planet. That much is certain. The only plausible conclusion is that someone else is imposing their own self onto the planet, which means there's another individual close by. Definitely an exciting piece of information for these two. This will be their first encounter with someone else in Universe Zero, and it doesn't take them long to find that light either. They slow their pace and gradually make their way to that side of the planet, but right when they barely make out a person standing in the horizon, the other guy experiences a chill run down his spine, and he completely turns blue. No way. Is that the Northern Enigma? And who's the other guy with him? The mysterious individual exclaims as he was scared and breathless. Goku does his obligatory yo, but there's no reply from this individual. He starts making a run for it, but Vegeta instantly catches up and stops him. What's the rush there, my friend? Come on, let's have a talk, Vegeta says. Alright, what do you want to talk about? He replies. First of all, can you tell us your name and share some food? Goku asks. I'm Vayne, and I'm afraid I haven't eaten anything since the last time I met someone, he says. Well, when was that? Vegeta asks. Honestly, I have no idea, he replies. Well, at least tell us where we can find some food, Goku asks. Sure, just go somewhere with a lot of planets. You'll find all sorts of species that you can eat, but I'm sure you already know that considering how you came all this way to the bottom of the universe. I'm assuming you two are exploring, he asks. No, we just suddenly found ourselves here. Wait, why are you turning bluer every passing second? Just relax, nobody's hurting you, Vegeta says. I'm confused, the guy replies. Why are you asking these questions? You are among the strongest known beings there are. The inevitable dragon. The man revered as the Northern Enigma, he replies. Vegeta looks at Goku, but Goku is simply just as clueless as he is. They both wonder if it's Shishido this guy is talking about and whether or not Shishido resembles Vegeta, but that aside, they quickly reassure Vayne that all they need to know is where to find the Angel's Realm. Vayne had already given up on his life. He wasn't convinced at all and thinks they're just pranking him, but decides to play along. Well, the Angel's Realm is straight up north. If you have permission to go there, it wouldn't take too long. In fact, one of the angels may even come pick you up, but I guess I'll explain the structure of reality. This universe exists straight below the Angel's realm. I've heard that there might be something beyond the Angel realm, but I'm not even sure if that's true or not, he says. This is when Goku and Vegeta begin to wonder if they have permission or not. Guess we'll just mention Whis if we're not welcome, Goku says. And so with that, the two of them just start their journey to the north. Vayne continues to act like an instruction manual, but soon enough, a strong and unprecedented wave of light catches them off guard. Goku asks about it and Vayne simply replies how light gathers wherever there's a strong energy source. It can be a person or any kind of other sentient mass. The further above you go, the brighter things get, but also just as much dangerous because the strongest of the strongest are the ones who reign supreme over the entirety of the North. Hey, earlier you said that we were at the very bottom of the universe. Does that mean there's nothing beneath us or just no source of light? Vegeta asks. I'm not sure there's something, but why would someone continue going to the depth just because they want to see if there is something or not? If the darkness is too much, at some point even your own light will be subdued. It's simply not worth it, he replies. Both Goku and Vegeta were having trouble picturing all of this, but Vayne's words are easy to understand. They continue their journey to the north, but one can only go so far without food. Goku and Vegeta are having a hard time bearing it all. It's been a while since they last saw another source of light. They should have just tried searching for food on the previous planet they saw. Vayne, how long until we see another planet? Goku asks. As I said before, I have no idea. The only certain thing is that you can always get somewhere if you keep going north, Vayne replies. Hearing this, Goku's mind goes into full survival mode. He's suddenly overwhelmed by the dreadful weight of his memories from the void. No food, nothing. Right then, in that very moment, he lets out a scream that sends a great roar in every direction. His voice starts reverberating and then suddenly, it compounds. So much so that an individual suddenly appears right in front of them. Goku. Vegeta. I've been waiting for your arrival, he says. Whoa, as you said, Vayne, an angel himself appeared to pick us up, Goku says. Indeed, my name is Kanji. Lord Zalama informed me of your arrival some time ago. Well then, I guess I'll take you two to the Angel Realm, Kanji states. Goku and Vegeta were about to bid Vayne farewell, but surprisingly, Kanji asks if he'd like to come as well. Vayne ends up replying positively as he was still under the influence that all of this was a stupidly overblown prank. Vegeta is the Northern Enigma, and if he's to survive, he has to play along. Suddenly, Kanji warps the three of them straight into a place of infinite whiteness. Goku and Vegeta immediately start swirling their heads, and in the distance, they observe a somewhat familiar individual walking straight towards them. Among everyone who has ever existed, this individual is the one whose birth was the most unusual. Ordinarily, even the greatest life forces will simply meet their end without ever learning about Universe Zero, but there was one man who cracked a hole in the fence. Millions of years ago, when Zeno erased 6 universes, there was a man, the ancient Saiyan named Yamoshi, who was an inhabitant of one of those universes. The erasure of the universe happened right before Yamoshi's son was born. Thanks to his unreal power and instincts, Yamoshi realized that everything around them will cease to exist, including themselves. However, his instincts somehow unleashed the reverse string entanglement, one of the 4 forbidden techniques of the cosmos. And just like that, his universe and 5 others would be erased. But his son was influenced by this technique. He was warped outside the influence of Zeno straight to an unknown region in Universe Zero. It's been millions of years since then. Shishito has survived and thrived countless wars and battles somehow. His current worry is how his hair keeps changing every 1,000 or so years. The cause of his anxiety has much to do with his extraordinarily moody wife, and then, of course, there's his mischievous son. As Shishido continues taking one step after another toward Goku and Vegeta, they can finally make out that the person coming towards them is in fact a Saiyan. One who's been around in a reality this preposterous for millions of years. Chills run down the both of their spines. Vayne knows full well about these smug expressions. That's the face of anticipation. Meanwhile, back in the new Universe 7, it's been 10 years since Goku and Vegeta were banished from the multiverse, as Champa asks Broly to take over as the Destroyer. He's afraid he won't be able to keep up with the times, but with Broly, you bet he'll always surpass any and all kinds of expectations. Subsequently, back in the Angel Realm, now that Shishido is almost in plain sight, instinctively, Goku and Vegeta use their greatest power-ups, almost purely just out of respect for this ancient Saiyan warrior. After Goku and Vegeta were exiled to Universe 0, they made a new friend named Vayne. And while it definitely wasn't all smooth sailing, they were quickly found by an angel who then brought them to the Angel Realm. There, they observe as Shishido walks towards them from the endlessly white horizon. Both Goku and Vegeta could feel the intensity in every single cell of their body, and so it was only right that they meet the intensity with that of their own. Just like that, Goku would unleash Ultra Instinct in coherence with his Super Saiyan Blue and take on his brand new Super Saiyan White form, an unreal transformation, but in terms of where he was with the Omni Key, Super Saiyan White is still a weaker evolution. Then we have Vegeta's brand new Omega Vegeta state. He's still yet to come to terms with the particulars of all of this, but for now it's pretty much like ultra ego on steroids or something like that, considering how he transcended back when he was still a destroyer. Okay, so now we have Super Saiyan White Goku because of the Omni Key, and Omega Vegeta able to harness this because of the power of destruction he already has experience with, practically glistening with their auras. And then we have Shishido. One moment he was a block away, and the next, he bestows upon Vegeta a blow so fast and so strong, Vegeta momentarily loses all the strength in his body, flickers back and forth from base to Omega state, before eventually just falling back to base. Incredible. That's all Goku could muster in this moment. Unfortunately, Vayne looked like he'd just seen the embodiment of death itself. In his mind, he was still thinking that this is an elaborate prank by the Northern Enigma and how it's only a matter of time before he's duped. But after seeing Vegeta get one shot by a person whom he doesn't even know about, it's like everything he thought he knew turns out to be a complete mystery. Wait, that's not my son, Shishido says calmly. Of course not. Why'd you hit me? Vegeta instinctively replies. Shishido conveniently ignores Vegeta and looks to Kanji. The look in his eyes stated that he wanted an explanation. Yes, Lord Shishido. It is just as you said, this man right here is not your son. In fact, the two of them have come from beyond this universe, Kanji replies. Does that mean what I think it does? Shishido questions. Yes, exactly. They are both pure-blooded Saiyans, just like you, Kanji replies. Goku and Vegeta are rather dumbfounded. They thought Shishido was already informed of their arrival, but apparently not. Shishido does take a few moments to process this profound information, by the way, and truth be told, he had no idea about his own origins. It's like even after he first opened his eyes, all that was awaiting him was endless darkness. But throughout the known and the unknown universes, this was the first time that a child has been born in this way, and so it didn't escape Zalama's eye. He was saved, and so as he grew older, he was told about his origins by Zalama. Sadly, the end of his father's race was a tragic one, and as fate would have it, Shishido was indeed the last pure-blooded Saiyan for the next millions of years. Little side note here, guys, if any of this is kind of confusing to you, I definitely recommend going back and watching part 8 of our God of Destruction Vegeta saga. That's where Zenith goes over how Vegeta and the others are not the first ever Saiyan race. Alright, so despite his unusually big frame and extraordinarily vibrant presence, Shishido walks up to both Goku and Vegeta and gives them a massive bear hug. You guys are just like me for real, Shishido laughs. Goku just starts laughing as well, while Vegeta has visibly apparent question marks looming all over his head. He's also the next one to break the silence. So, Lord Shishido, you mentioned something about your son. Does that mean there's another Saiyan in this universe? Your son? Vegeta asks. Yes, of course. I never even thought that I'd meet someone of my kind after such an extensive period of time, and since you look like my son, I proceeded to greet like usual. Though do not be mistaken, I have a son, but I'm not sure if you can call him a Saiyan exactly, Shishido replies, once again closing with much more questions than answers. Shishido could tell that the two boys are definitely having a hard time understanding all of this, and he's wise enough to understand how their perception of things might be different from his. Kanji also notices this and says, "Why don't you explain things from the very beginning, Lord Shishido? I'm sure these two are curious as well." Goku and Vegeta nod. Shishido grins and then begins with the story of his earlier days. "Old age is getting to me, so I might miss a few details, but I'll tell you, and I suppose I'm interested in your story as well, so how about we get something to eat? We'll talk afterwards." And at the mention of food, you already know Goku is gonna throw up that huge thumbs up. Vegeta is all game as well, of course, but he couldn't help but notice how Shishido mentioned old age despite being millions of years old. Does that even matter at this point, he thinks to himself? Although he could tell that everything will eventually make sense. Though one thing was for sure, the vision, that glimpse of Super Saiyan Infinity that Vegeta saw back then, was not Shishido. Kanji then warps everyone to a dining hall where a stupid amount of food was already waiting for them. Meanwhile, in the new Universe 7, 10 years have passed and events of great historic proportions continue to take place even after the protagonists themselves have been exiled. Vegeta's final words would stick with Broly. First, he trained his mind to always be in a state of serenity, and then he reignited within the Saiyans a newfound will to be the strongest race to have ever lived. Unlike King Vegeta, who felt threatened by Broly's presence, King Sadala didn't have such reservations. Before he knew it, Broly found himself a new home on planet Sadala. Gohan would want Pan to be close to our Saiyan lineage as well, considering how that is just kinda how it should be, and looks like Trunks and Goten would have the same idea. So 2 years after Broly would become a part of planet Sadala, Gohan, Trunks, and Goten pay them a visit together with Pan and Bulla. 3 years later, Frieza, after yet another time skip's worth of training, shows up at planet Sadala. No, he's not here to repeat history. All he wants to do is to prove his own competence. He challenges Broly and faces off in a battle that quite literally puts a dent in the universe. Such wild antics continue throughout the years, so much so that all Champa can see is his own fate being just like his brothers. He knows that it's only a matter of time before these folks pull something off too preposterous, and just like that, his head is going to be the next one on the chopping block. Especially now that the Omni King is consciously intervening whenever is deemed necessary, and Whis is no slouch either. In the present day multiverse, only the strong will survive at the top. The destroyers, or even the angels, they no longer have the luxury to stay lax. Broly accepts the role and becomes the new destroyer of Universe 7. Frieza takes another L because he had been looking forward to becoming a destroyer all this time, and as for Broly, becoming a destroyer is simply a label. He still bears strong animosity towards the Grand Priest, considering what he experienced during the battle with the Grand Priest that permanently changed the multiverse. The Grand Priest is gonna wake up in about 1,000,000 or so years, and as long as Broly is still the destroyer, you can bet he's gonna be ready for that day. Back to the banquet in the Angel Realm. Goku stuffed himself about 10 times more than usual, and that is honestly saying something. "What's wrong with you, Kakarot? You've been weirder than usual," Vegeta says. "Yeah, it feels like I've been in contact with direct sunlight for too long," Goku replies. "Yep, definitely weirder than usual. Get yourself together, Kakarot. We only have 1,000,000 years until the Grand Priest wakes up, and I'm winning this time," Vegeta declares. Although what Vegeta doesn't understand, or even Goku for that matter, is how this is the first time Goku has eaten ever since he wished for food in the void. His subconscious brain instantly recalls the suppressed trauma from back then, and as an instinctual response, Goku somehow manages to eat 10 times as much as usual. It's a good thing they have enough food, I guess. "So, Lord Shishido, you were about to share your story?" Vegeta asks. "It's okay, Vegeta, you don't have to address me so formally. I'd rather Kanji doesn't so either, but he says that's how his race speaks," Shishido replies. "Well then, start talking, Shishido. We haven't got all day," Vegeta says, grinning. You like this guy's attitude. "Now that's more like it. Well then, let's start with, how about after I was told about my origins? At first I was in denial. I couldn't comprehend how I'm the last one of my kind. It felt too bizarre. I couldn't calm down, and so from there on out, I became a wild lion per se. I'd hunt anyone and everyone I'd come across. Sometimes I'd win, and most of the time I'd lose. Then one day things began to change. My hair turned golden. I could feel it in my bones that I'd gotten stronger. It did feel rather tiresome though, but just like that, I got stronger. Believe me as I say this, Goku and Vegeta, I don't know about where you come from, but this place is practically drooling with people so strong, you'll think you're in a dream. For as much as I've lived, I don't think I'm the strongest. But Goku and Vegeta didn't care about the fact that there are stronger people out there, all the more reason to get even stronger. If they can get stronger than the Grand Priest, they are the strongest, and it's that simple to them. Kanji on the other hand jokes about how it wasn't until after Shishido's hair turned golden that Lord Zalama looked into Yamoshi's memories to see if there's any chance that he or his wife had thought of their son's name. And bingo, the name Shishido was indeed in their memories. And for the sake of context, the word Shishi means lion, but Shishido in its entirety is a word for a pepper from East Asia. Yamoshi and his wife had thought long and hard about this name, and it would have been a real shame if Shishido never got to honor it. So as Shishido goes on, he continues by saying the funny thing is, golden isn't where it ended for him. Every so often when I'm beaten almost all the way to death, I'll revive, and if I'm lucky, my color will change as well. Years turned into decades. Decades turned to centuries, and century into millennia. I became a giant. My body hair started glowing and whatnot. I've had my fair share of evolutions. I guess that's what you guys call it. These evolutions sure do be draining stamina though, you know what I'm saying, fellas? Goku and Vegeta just kinda look at each other confused. So why didn't you just revert back to your base state, Vegeta asks. Wait, you can do that? Shishido replies. Yeah, I mean, aren't you in your base state right now? Vegeta asks. No, I lost consciousness the last time I fought my son, and when I woke up, I was like this, Shishido replies. This causes Vegeta and Goku to just burst out with laughter. So tell us, Shishido, tell us about your son, Goku asks. Alright, I can do that. So around 9,000 years ago, a certain dragon came and found me. She wanted us to make something strong, and since I had only just returned from a death battle, I still had adrenaline running in my system, so things happen, Shishido boldly declares. Vegeta pauses for a second and asks, please tell me you weren't still transformed when that happened? Of course I was. I had just returned from a battle that almost killed me. Why wouldn't I be, Shishido asks. Hearing this, Vegeta lets out another burst of laughter and can't help but facepalm me. This is a Saiyan and Dragon hybrid with the greatest entanglement of Saiyan genes, isn't it? I'm sorry, Kakarot, but it looks like the Saiyan hybrid with the most potential isn't your son, Vegeta says, laughing. I see. I finally understand. So this is the one whom they call the Northern Enigma, huh? While Shishido certainly isn't done telling his stories, an interesting little detail he glossed over about the birth of his son leaves Vegeta flabbergasted. Now let's see. Vegeta is ecstatic by these revelations. Well, of course he is. The Saiyan race is thriving and it can still get much higher. So, are you gonna train us or what? Vegeta asks abruptly. We can fight again if that's what you want. I won't hold back the next time either, which means you won't make it out alive, Shishido continues. Hey Kanji, what do you think we should do with these two? I was excited at first, but now I'm kinda bored. Lord Shishido, I think there's a reason why Lord Zalama specifically sent them your way. Indeed, I don't have any idea either, but your involvement seems to be imperative, Kanji replies. Fine, but you know, I've been meaning to ask. What's up with your friend, Vegeta? My intuition says he's up to no good, Shishido says. Oh, you mean Kakarot? Come on, this guy is honest to a fault. Although he did have a little episode before when we were roaming around in that absolute darkness. Could be a mental thing or something, Vegeta says laughing, while Goku has just been standing there staring at the ceiling for like the past 5 minutes, unaware that they're pretty much talking about him. However, Shishido was not convinced by Vegeta's explanation. If there's one thing he trusts more than anything else, it's his tuition. He knows when someone reeks of trouble, and Goku seemed to be that person for some reason. Vegeta noticed the tension in the air and decided to slap Goku back to reality. "Hey, Kakarot, snap out of it." "Oh, what's up everybody?" Goku immediately replies. "You sound like you just woke up," Shishido asks. "Well, I guess I sorta just did," Goku says. Once again, everyone goes silent because Goku was obviously wide awake this entire time. "Kakarot, would you mind stepping outside with me for a minute? We need to talk." "With our fists, that is," Shishido declares. Suddenly, Goku is wide awake and he is all game. "Yeah, sure," he replies. Vegeta and Kanji step back. Goku immediately enters Super Saiyan White. And just a little info blip for all of you guys who haven't gotten a chance to go back and watch the entire series yet. Super Saiyan White is a harmonic sequence between Super Saiyan and Ultra Instinct that derive from Goku's control and experience with the Omni Key. It's not a completely new form, being a combination of about 2 or 3, but I guess it is new nonetheless. "Alright Shishido, I think it's about time you show us your transformations as well," he asks. "Oh, don't be so ridiculous. I don't require a transformation to defeat someone of your level, Kakarot. Besides, I like this casual feeling." "Just prepare yourself," Shishido declares. Sure enough, Goku would use his refined Ultra Instinct to synchronize himself with Shishido's movements. It happened. The day had finally come where Goku was going all out from the get-go. He no longer has the luxury of holding back. However, when he tries to land an attack, Shishido surprises Goku by using an even greater tier of speed than Ultra Instinct. Goku's instincts were definitely independent and they were also moving at 100%, but what good is that efficiency when your opponent's basic stats are exponentially higher than yours? Of course, that's what was in everyone's mind at the moment, but Goku was focused on something else. Now that he knows that he can come in contact with Shishido's body, he was within a suitable range to actually grab his tail. And that's correct. If you guys remember correctly, if there is a weak spot on Shishido or any Saiyan's body that Goku can exploit, it's the tail. "Got you now," Goku says after grabbing Shishido's tail. "Good. I figured that's what you were after," Shishido replies, and then he proceeds to let out a tremendous amount of energy. He just transforms into a Super Saiyan and Goku is sent flying. "So tell me, if you know about the tail, why don't you guys have one?" Shishido asks. "Well, honestly, we just cut them off, but now that you mention it, maybe a tail is what we need to ascend to the next level," Vegeta replies. "You guys do know that you can just manifest one, right? Only your souls were allowed into this universe. You essentially had to create your own physical existence by imposing your life force. Just focus and I'm pretty sure you can grow your tails too," Kanji explains. Goku and Vegeta are startled by this, but they do try it out and eventually, our Saiyan duo finally regain their tails. "Not good, Kakarot. I sense something sinister in you for some reason and it's making me vomit," Shishido says as he covers the distance and then lands a solid blow on Goku's gut within a split second. Goku is about to faint from the power of that blow, but he recomposes and propels himself straight to Shishido. Right then, he instinctually unleashes an ominous ki bomb that instills Shishido's anger even further. "I knew it. You're dead," Shishido declares as he proceeds to punch Goku so hard, his entire life flashes before his eyes. With his second punch, Goku is already passed out. Goku is about to fall, but Shishido is not done. He lands 4 more brutal punches before Goku even hits the ground. He completely just destroys Goku with this combo with a level of brute force that doesn't really make sense for being so unprovoked. Shishido then instantly glares at Vegeta and demands that he tell them what they've been hiding. Vegeta instantly turns into his Omega state and replies, "No, you explain yourself first. What do you think we've been hiding? Get out your head, old man." Vegeta then looks to Kanji and asks him to heal Goku. Kanji obliges and comes into contact with Goku to heal his body, but just then, right as his hand touches Goku's chest, he instantly feels infinite darkness, as if a massive void was waiting for him to step right into it. "What exactly is happening here?" Kanji demands. "This is not cool, Shishido. I thought we were straight, but now you and your buddy are making a big deal out of nothing? Seriously, I wish Whis was here to explain everything more properly," Vegeta says. "Did someone say my name?" Everyone is taken aback as Whis suddenly appears. Why, hello there, big brother. I heard about your big promotion. How are you holding up? Kanji asked. Yes, it's quite alright. Zeno-sama has been a lot more mature since his fusion, and even though there can sometimes be irregularities because of the new model of the multiverse, Lord Zalama is sticking with us until everything is sorted out, Whis replies. Cut that out, Whis. Tell us what's up with Kakarot. You do know that, don't you? Vegeta instantly asks. His crude manner of speech does get him some side eyes from both Shishido and Kanji, but Whis would reply that it's the void. Even if Goku has managed to regain his independent consciousness, he'll always be at the mercy of the void. There's really nothing that can be done about it. Wait, what do you mean by the void? Shishido asks. And in reply, Whis explains the whole story of the Omni Key, how Goku spent 12,000 years in the void, the unimaginable level of mental and psychological torture he had to endure. It was practically despair and hopelessness at its best. If it weren't for Zalama's help, Vegeta's celestial technique, and Gohan's cry for help, it probably would have been impossible for Goku to ever find his way back to his body. By the time Whis was done with his explanation, both Shishido and Kanji were lost for words, completely speechless. I mean, Vegeta was familiar with how the Omni Key had messed up everything inside Goku, but he had no idea it was this bad. And Whis continues, Goku has no choice but to live with it. For the remainder of his existence, he must carry this curse with him, and he must always retain his sharpness. Any careless moment whatsoever can consume his consciousness again. Think about it like living with a tumor in every single cell in your body. This is what happens when the multiverse itself curses you. Now, Vegeta obviously felt bad about all this. I mean, how is he gonna continue getting stronger if Goku has to live with this handicap? Oh, don't be so dramatic, Whis. This is nothing. We both know that Kakarot will overcome the void and make it his own, just like he's overcome everything in the past, Vegeta declares. And it's not Whis who would reply to him, but Shishido. You don't understand the sheer dexterity of the situation, Vegeta. You don't really understand anything up here. It's simply not possible. The will of the multiverse is above all things in this universe, and it's the multiverse itself who cursed Kakarot. I finally understand why I felt so repulsed by that ominous energy. It wasn't his fault after all, but rather, it was the energy of the curse placed upon him. I sincerely apologize for not only my outburst, but the confusion as well. I genuinely do, Shishido says. Vegeta pauses and thinks about it for a moment and asks one simple question. But you never mentioned why it's impossible for Kakarot to overcome the void. Shishido feels mocked by this question, but he lets his imagination run wild and replies with honesty. If by some chance an individual could indeed overcome the inherent darkness of the multiverse, we would have a new ruler of universal combat, surpassing even the Grand Priest. An unprecedented warrior whose very existence would be an act of rebellion against the entirety of the multiverse. It's simply not possible. It just isn't. The very fact that this guy even made it out of the infinite void is a miracle in and of itself. The probability is so ruthlessly and unfairly low, we don't even have a number this small to properly quantify it. You follow me, right, Vegeta? And let me check up on you guys as well. You guys are following me, right? I know we're going kind of sicko mode with the script in this video, but I gotta bring you guys the best content possible when it comes to our very own fan manga. Your friend Kakarot is an anomaly in the context of the entire universe, Shishido finishes. Once again, Vegeta would take a moment to actually internalize Shishido's words for what they are, but even so, he replies, indeed. The very fact that Kakarot was able to break free from the void is reason enough to believe that he can do more. And don't get me wrong, Shishido, even if Kakarot somehow becomes an absolute warrior that even the combined might of the multiverse can't defeat, I will still surpass him. For I am the proud prince of the legendary warrior race. Watch me, Shishido. I'll surpass you and your son as well. It's only a matter of time. The moment he heard Vegeta's reply, Shishido felt that familial bond. It was as if life had suddenly opened up. He felt so relieved, so liberated. This must be it. The very definition of strength. Despite being so cornered and despite the fact that it isn't even you that we're talking about, You're still so confident that your friend will come out just fine. Shishido says this, walks up to Vegeta and pats his shoulder. I feel elated, Vegeta. I'm glad I lived long enough to meet the two of you. These are interesting times we live in. For as long as I've lived, there are levels of strength that even I had given up on, but for you too, there is no such thing as an idea of a limit. Infinite strength, huh? Sounds good to me. Vegeta simply smiles, saying, looks like we're finally on the same page, old man. Shishido would laugh, and Goku is still passed out. Since Kanji can't heal Goku because there's a possibility of him getting sucked into the void as well on accident if he makes contact with his body, looks like Goku has no choice but to recover naturally for the time being. Meanwhile, the Northern Enigma couldn't ignore the ominous aura of this void either. His senses are even sharper than that of Shishido, and now that he's noticed something this potent, he can't ignore it. Looks like your son is about to make a move, Lord Shishido, Kanji replies. Very well. Come with me, Vegeta. How about we go give my boy a visit, Shishido asked. Yeah, finally. Now we're down to business. I look forward to kicking your son's ass, Vegeta replies. Careful. He may be the son, but he's still over 9,000 years old. There is absolutely zero chance of you scoring a victory. Just forget it, Shishido states. Oh, just shut up, old man. I'll find out myself, Vegeta laughs. Although the difference in age was tremendous to say the least, their vibe had already matched each other. As Goku recovers from the damage done to him by Shishido, Vegeta and Shishido set out to the Northern Enigma's domain. In the next chapter, we are finally gonna get to see the Northern Enigma, son of Shishido, versus Vegeta. Every time Trunks has used the time machine, it left behind some cosmic residue. The entire continuum of space and time was hinged enough that this is a problem. Even so, the Overseer of Time lets it slide because Trunks is the best part-time worker anyone could ask for. Unfortunately, some problems aren't meant to be overlooked. When the future Zeno erases everything in the future Trunks timeline, the Grand Priest is left with no choice but to relocate back to the Angel Realm, and the Angels follow suit soon after. However, he then uses his powers to go back in time and witnesses the entire Zamasu ordeal. But that isn't even the worst part. He notices a certain discrepancy in the universe, a subtle disconnect. The events of the Janemba arc definitely happened, but at the same time, and well, literally at the same time, Universe 7 was busy trying to deal with a universal threat in the form of Boo. How can two mutually exclusive events take place at the same time? Just why can't Universe 7 be normal for once, the Grand Priest thinks to himself. But it doesn't end here. Quietly, without even the ones involved really noticing, these two mutually exclusive timelines overlap at a certain point in the future. The Broly arc. For some reason, this contingence is in line with the flow of this universe. This doesn't sit right with the Grand Priest, and since the worst had already happened in a different future where all of reality was erased, the Grand Priest decides to be bold and proactive for once. He grabs the two alternate timelines with one hand each and immediately, just like tying a knot, he blends them. The point where Goku and Vegeta fused against Janemba, and also the point where Goku and Vegeta fused against Super Buu. Now, both of these are a thing during the same period of time, but jumping back forward in time to when these two fusions take place again. That's right, when Gogeta and Vegito are at their strongest. The Grand Priest makes sure to bend the reality in a way that these two are in each other's sight, even though Vegito doesn't actually happen until a future timeline that has all been erased. The Grand Priest still wants some insurance. Yeah, he wants to take these two out at their finest to avoid messing up the past too much, but he's also a little curious about why this universe is acting so differently. Whatever happened to the chronological order of events? Just like that, as the Grand Priest faces forward, right in front of him is the recently transformed Gogeta as well as the recently transformed Vegito. Both are still in their base forms and they're very confused right now. So the two fusions blabber back and forth in confusion while the Grand Priest proceeds to summon all Destroyers and all Supreme Kai. The Angels too, of course. Listen everybody, you two as well, Gogeta and Vegito. I've gathered you all here because of a glitch in this universe. Goku and Vegeta, you know, the Saiyans who did great in the Tournament of Power, Well, as it just so happens, at one instance in the past, they fused together, but the circumstances of their fusion were different, and the result of their fusion were different too. Why did something so random happen in the first place? I'd like a reasonable explanation, or you can kill these two. Whatever works best, the Grand Priest declares. Meanwhile, Beerus clenches his fist. In my tens of millions of years of living experience, never have I been so troubled by someone as much as these two. What do you say we do, Whis? Beerus asks. Lord Beerus, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but time right now has ceased to exist. I'd say even after Gogeta and Vegito are killed, reality itself will simply go back to normal, and everyone, even us, will forget this even happened, Whis replies. And how would you know, Beerus asks. Just a hunch, I guess, Whis replies. Subsequently, the other destroyers had already jumped on the two Saiyans, but even in base form, both Gogeta and Vegito are strong, and I mean very strong. They easily manage to evade all the attacks, but can't really seem to land one of their own either. Well, how about Super Saiyan? Both transformed into Super Saiyans, and from what we've seen, Super Saiyan Gogeta is already more powerful than either Goku or Vegeta in their Super Saiyan Blue forms. Even more powerful than both of them. Things escalate very quickly from here on out. Vegito kicks Champa in the gut so bad that he flies all the way and just clashes into Beerus. Another destroyer decides to take advantage of the momentary opening to attack Vegito from behind, but Gogeta has his back, and they both evolve into Vegito Blue and Gogeta Blue respectively. The two then look at each other in the eye and they instinctively know what this is about. Who can take out more opponents, of course? What happens next is akin to a gruesome street fight. The destroyers, when they're fighting for real, are crazy strong. Maybe if somehow Gogeta or Vegito could pull off an overpowered technique, they could stand a chance against the alleged strongest people in the multiverse, but both Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego are kind of individual things. The Grand Priest was watching from a distance, carefully looking to see if he could catch any new irregularities. He can feel it in his toes that something unreal is about to happen next. Hey man, we aren't getting anywhere, plus usually I would have already split back by now. I don't know what's wrong with this place, Vegito asks. I can feel you, buddy, but what's the story behind those cute little earrings you've been wearing, Gogeta asks. Oh, these? These are just for fusion, Vegito replies. Wait, so you mean you don't do the fusion dance, Gogeta asks? What dance? Now I'm curious, Vegito asks back. Hearing this, Gogeta has the craziest idea. Not only does he want those Patara earrings, but he also wants to show this new friend the fusion dance. Luckily, Champa was still floating around, and so Gogeta just pops up behind the guy and snatches his earring off. He teleports right back and tells Vegito to just follow his lead. Just imitate my movements, alright? I know you definitely have the skill to just do that. So take it seriously, Gogeta states. Vegito is all game, and the next thing you know, Gogeta and Vegito have performed the fusion dance. What's majestic about the fusion dance is how it only brings out the best from both counterparts, and so, even with Gogeta and Vegito, the two who are already a result of multiplication, a new mathematical equation is formed. An exponential overflow, perfectly arcing into a tangent 90-degree angle, an almost infinite increase of power going straight up. Suddenly, the emergence of this new individual puts a dent in this realm and time begins to flow again. So after all this time, someone finally showed up. A warrior who could rival even me, the Grand Priest declares, as the destroyer from Universe 11 is sent flying back into his face. You can call this new individual Gogeto, or you can call him Warrior X. But for what it's worth, his existence is definitely not welcomed in the multiverse. A one-on-one begins between the Grand Priest and Gogeto, but without anyone really noticing, the Grand Priest has already been hit. From the moment Gogeto emerged, the flow of time was recovered, and so it's no longer the Grand Priest's domain. What next? Super Saiyan Gogeto? Of course, the Grand Priest feels compelled to unleash his power as well, and in response, Gogeto goes all out with his own power. He becomes Gogeto Blue. But the evolution continues. He starts going further beyond blue into a state which can only be referred to as Super Saiyan White. but blink and it all disappears. They split and then they split again. As it is always the case with fusion, they use up all of their time and energy before the battle could proceed any longer and suddenly revert back to normal. All the way back to normal. 2 Gokus and 2 Vegetas, and they're all gassed. The Grand Priest couldn't keep himself from laughing. It had been a long time since he had felt his blood pump so much. Conveniently, Whis was right. After this ordeal, things will just go back to normal and everyone will forget. It'll be just like a long dream, you know, a dream of the greatest fight any warrior in the multiverse could ever fathom, but who knows? Maybe it was just a dream the whole time. Now, when Gogeta and Vegito fused, time, or the flow of time that is, was deliberately stopped by the Grand Priest, and then suddenly it continues. The important part here is how the power of the Grand Priest was instantly countered by Gogeto's emergence. The Grand Priest was in awe and admiration of the sheer presence of this fusion. He is especially impressed at how the raging life force appears to mirror his own vibration. This was instrumental. Just the idea that a warrior with a life force that can pretty much rival his own is an anomaly in and of itself. Unfortunately, before Gogeta could reach his full strength, Gogeta and Vegito end up expending too much energy on the fusion, and you know what happens next. They kinda poop defuse. The diffusion this time is twofold, however. First, Gogeta reverts back to Gogeta and Vegito, and then you have the 2 pairs of Goku and Vegeta. They're all about as worn out as you can get, and since the purpose of the space-time bubble was to introduce the unusual nature of Goku and Vegeta's fusion to the authorities of the universe, the Saiyan duos are now in a vegetative state. Their memories of the incident are conveniently wiped out, and as far as Gogeta goes, it's like he never existed. And so, before they can even wake up, the Saiyans are sent back to their respective timelines from where they were picked up. And yet, the Grand Priest can still feel the anticipation. He knows that ever since that fusion, there's been something different about the multiverse, but just what is it? The concern is there, but it isn't big enough to warrant the elimination of Goku and Vegeta from existence. Like with all things, there's always a reason for why something happened the way it did. Since Gogeta was strong enough to overrule the Grand Priest's power, something impossible may happen again. Subsequently, Whis and Beerus have returned to their planet. So what do you think that was all about, Beerus asks. Honestly, I have no idea. Father can be oddly meticulous sometimes, but we don't even know the context in this case, Whis replies. Alright, though, do you think the Grand Priest has ever lost a fight, Beerus asks. Never. I mean, do you think I've ever lost a fight? We, the appointed angels, are not supposed to lose, Whis states. There's a slight pause in their conversation, and then Whis notices something extraordinarily unusual. Lord Beerus, looks like it hasn't ended after all. In fact, it seems like it's only just begun, he declares. The domain, which was created by the Grand Priest to introduce the simultaneous existence of Gogeta and Vegito, even though it was absolved into nothingness after that event, Whis sees that it's still very much there. Not only that, the Grand Priest starts getting similar reports from all of the other angels in the 12 universes as well. Inconsistencies are starting to emerge in the structure of space and time itself. And at first, so far so good. There was really nothing to write home about, a few inconsistencies here or there, but then something truly stunning would happen. One of the 6 universes which were erased by Zeno a few million years ago, specifically Universe 13, comes back into existence once again. There's a massive Big Bang, but instead of being the foundation of a new universe, it brings an already dead one back to life. This would leave everyone, including the Grand Priest, utterly speechless. Whis observes as the man behind it all appears once again. Right at the spot where Gogeta had defused initially, he was already there again. So what exactly happened? Well, let's go back in time a little and see for ourselves. Right before Gogeta turned into Super Saiyan White and defused, he actually saw it all coming. Almost as if his sixth sense had already experienced it, And so that Gogeta from a few moments ago improvised and appropriated his boundless energy in a different way that we've never seen before. If we recall correctly, this domain that they're in was essentially detached from reality. Gogeta was the only one who brought the flow of time back into it. His energy was oozing out of him and just spreading in all directions now. It would eventually even leak out of this domain and began searching for similar sources of energy throughout the entire history of the multiverse until finally, this boundless energy would stumble across the first ever Saiyan legend, Yamoshi. Gogeto's energy synchronizes with Yamoshi's transformation, and instead of your just usual legendary Super Saiyan, this man evolves into a Super Saiyan God. And at this point, even the etymology of the word Saiyan has been redefined. Yamoshi went on to do even more incredible things. Eventually, the Super Saiyan transformation became an everyday thing in the Saiyan race. Before long, several Saiyans had emerged who had even broken past the Super Saiyan limits. The Frieza race was absolutely smothered by Goku's father Bardock. The birth of Broly would be met with great celebrations since the Saiyans are now allegedly the strongest race in Universe 7 and among the top 5 races of all universes. That's correct, the Saiyans are still there and their existence rivals that of the Angel race. That's the level we're talking about now, and just like how the Angels have the Grand Priest to oversee them, Saiyans may not have any idea, but Gogeta is serving a similar purpose. And the impact of Gogeto's energy on the past and the future certainly does not end there. After synchronizing with Yamoshi and the other Saiyan legends throughout history, his energy started searching for a bracket in the universe, an empty space where it could simply explode. Conveniently, the Grand Priest domain, or I guess should I now say Gogeto's domain, was a very favorable pathway. It kind of serves as like a channel or pathway for all that energy to travel throughout the 12 universes. Be that as it may, the space and time had already been broken. The time when Gogeto's energy appears outside Universe 12 is right after those 6 universes were erased. And similar to how he countered the Grand Priest, Gogeto's energy amalgamates into kind of a cosmic egg, which suddenly reverses the elimination of one of those universes. Gogeto's powers are pretty cool and limitless, but it's still gonna take some time before life can sprout in this universe again. But the truly terrifying part about it all is how the life stories of Goku and Vegeta have also changed. They're now exponentially more powerful than they were ever even supposed to be. Even with all those other timelines that haven't been affected by the change, they've experienced a growth spurt of some kind. The life force of every Saiyan ever has expanded, not just because of another spark in Yamoshi's evolution, but also because the energy eventually reached and merged with the first Saiyan cell. That's right, energy can't be created nor destroyed, but it can sure as hell bend to your will, Gogeta declares as he looks at the multiverse from above. The Grand Priest is amused. What actually happened is far more extraordinary than what he saw in his premonition. The entire multiverse is now bending in a way which makes Gogeta the ultimate warrior and not the Grand Priest. The enigmatic dragon god named Zalama was willing to excuse this situation because, to be fair, this is technically the Grand Priest's problem, not his, but when Gogeta instantly gathers the 7 Super Dragon Balls using his spatial awareness, well, now Zalama may have a bit more to say about things. Gogeta would summon Super Shenron and ask him to escalate the evolution of Universe 13. The wish is accepted and processed, and Gogeta then proceeds to make Universe 13 his home universe. Meanwhile, Goku and Vegeta from the first timeline have woken up from their slumber. For the sake of a little bit of context, these two were the Vegito side in that fusion. Hey Kakarot, you feeling this, Vegeta asks? Yeah, Vegeta, looks like the dream we had wasn't a dream after all. I have a bad feeling about this, Goku replies. Gogeta is now essentially a father to the Saiyan race since his life force is what rewrote the origin of this race to begin with, and so, in a weird kind of way, he is to the Saiyans what the Grand Priest is to the Angels. But are they comparable? Well, it's hard to predict because the last time they fought, Gogeta diffused into Vegito and Gogeta as naturally as he breathed. But if another battle does take place between the Grand Priest and Gogeta, things won't be the same because Gogeta now exists as a separate individual and not just a fusion. He's no longer restricted by the energy limitations of fusion either. Just like the Grand Priest, his energy reserves are now boundless. Then there is Goku and Vegeta from the first fusion, and we're talking about the ones who diffused from Vegito, who was fighting Goku Black and Zamasu. The Grand Priest returned them to the time and place from where he picked them up, and in doing so, he also rewrote their memories so that what happened in the timeless domain is nothing more than a dream to them. But they know. They know that it was real because they can feel their Saiyan souls burning thanks to their improvised Saiyan DNA. So is there like an actual explanation for this, Vegeta states once they're back? Yeah, I'm not sure either. We need Whis, Goku replies. And it looks like Whis had the same idea because he's already here along with Beerus. Seriously, you two have never looked more exhausted. So how'd it go with Zamasu and Goku Black, Beerus asks. Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. It's like we just fused into Vegito, then we woke up in that shady dimension where there was a different fused version of us. So we humored you destroyers, fused with that other version, and the last I recall is getting demoted right back here on Earth. But here's the crazy part. All the memories of how Black and Zamasu were defeated, how we won the Tournament of Power, destroyed Moro, duked it out with Granola and Gas, and even that scuffle with Frieza. All those memories suddenly showed up in my head, and I guess it's the same for you, Kakarot, Vegeta states. Yeah, same, Goku replies, nodding. I'm not sure what it is I just saw, but it all flooded into my mind the minute I woke up. Well, I'm surprised you're able to articulate yourself so easily, but rest assured, there's nothing for you guys to worry about. Whatever happens to Gogeta, you two can continue on with what you've always done, Whis replies. No, I want to see this through to the end, Goku asserts. Yes, but it isn't in your hands anymore, unfortunately. You might as well consider that Gogeta guy a separate person because let's be honest, that's what he is, Beerus replies. Alright, so where is he now? And how is he still even a thing when both us and the alternate versions of us have already diffused? Explain, Whis, Vegeta asks. Whis would then go on a very interesting tangent, reminding you guys that when we hit 2,500 likes, we are going to be releasing part 4 of What If Gogeta and Vegito Fused. But Whis will go on to explain how Gogeta is now essentially acting as the overseer of a resurrected universe, how history was changed in alternate timelines, how every Saiyan ever in every timeline is now the son of Gogeta, since his DNA quite literally merged with the first Saiyan cell and then some. Whis takes a moment to explain everything in as much detail as possible. Ordinarily, Goku would have got bored by now, but for some reason, he was surprisingly intrigued. He was hanging on to every word Whis was saying and just ready to go see Gogeta any moment now. Lucky for him, the opportunity comes sooner than later. Lightning strikes right in front of them and an unusual individual appears. He's cloaked in light from head to toe. Both Beerus and Whis stand up right immediately and properly greet him. What can we do for you today, Lord Zalama? Vegeta was, of course, wary of this individual the moment he appeared, but hearing that name still managed to catch him off guard. The creator of the Super Dragon Balls, the Dragon God Zalama, has appeared. Relax, Beerus, you too, Whis. I'm only here for Goku and Vegeta, he continues. As it stands, the multiverse has transcended into a new, boundless dimension where alternate timelines are merging into one to create new timelines. Gogeta is essentially responsible for this, of course, he goes on, but he's only one singular piece of the puzzle. No one can stop the multiverse from restructuring itself. Even Lord Zeno can only destroy what he pleases. But what we're facing right now is unprecedented, and as the original versions of Goku and Vegeta, your existence is crucial in the making of this new age. So what do you say? Shall I take you there right away? To the new Universe 13, or should I say the Saiyans realm? And Zalama was getting right to the point without engaging in any of the small talk. It definitely took our Saiyan boys a minute to process all of this, but right as they get the gist of it, they're ready. Lord Beerus, should we accompany them too, Whis asks. Let's wait for further orders from the Grand Priest. With regards of recent events, it looks like we're still on the clock here, Beerus replies. They bid Goku and Vegeta farewell, who then just disappeared together with Zalama. Doesn't take Goku long to start feeling hungry because, truth be told, Universe 13 is quite a long way from Universe 7. Mind if I ask you a question, Lord Zalama? Vegeta says. Sure, go ahead. Which universe are you from? Either none of them or all of them. I was here when the multiverse was just a single universe. It may have evolved into many now though, but that just means I'm an old relic from the past. Don't overthink it, Zalama replies and then points forward. They'd arrived. Right in front of them was the realm of the Saiyans, and there, standing in the turbulent cosmos, was the shadow of its creator, Gogeto. Now, before they could even enter the Saiyans' realm, Gogeto communicates with them telepathically. I see you have already brought them here. Good. That's very good, Lord Zalama, he states. Yes. Now, Gogeto, would you invite us in? Zalama replies. Suddenly, a path appears in the cosmos. They walk through and end up in what appears to be a throne room. Gogeto is standing right in front of them in all his Saiyan glory. He looks damn near invincible. My sons, what do you think of this place? The Saiyans' realm that I've created for us all, Gogeto speaks. What do you mean, sons? Aren't you just us? Vegeta asked. Well, I don't get too caught up in the details, but I am now the father of the Saiyan race. You two are my sons. So allow me to welcome you into the ultimate Saiyan Haven. I've already gathered countless numbers of Saiyans from all timelines except the first one. Not only could you meet your fathers here, but you could also meet your own counterparts, Gogeto asserts. And right then, almost like clockwork, Goku and Vegeta are stunned as they witness another Goku and Vegeta enter the room from the other side. See, Goku? Gogeto declares as he points to the other Goku across the room. This one right here is the amalgamation of all the other Gokus from other timelines. He's strong, really strong. And I can say with absolute confidence that he's at least 10 times stronger than you, Gogeto declares. And the other Goku just continues to walk until he's face to face with our Goku. Goku, meet Goku, Gogeto introduces them, but for the sake of convenience, let's call the other one Zeno Goku since he's from a different timeline. And he also introduces Zeno Vegito the same way. But seeing this, the original Goku and Vegeta just burst into laughter. This entire situation was so extraordinarily ridiculous that it wasn't even making sense anymore, but that's irrelevant. A Saiyan is always ready for battle even if they're up against themselves. The circumstances may be unusual, but the battle between Goku and Zeno Goku, as well as the battle between Vegeta and Zeno Vegeta, is about to begin. All under the watchful eye of the ruler of Universe 13, Gogeto. As for what happens with our warriors next, well, Goku and Vegeta from the first timeline have been escorted by Zalama to the Saiyans realm. Gogeto addresses them as his sons and then proceeds to introduce them to Zeno Goku and Zeno Vegeta. So basically, the Goku and Vegeta from the first timeline are the only ones who have maintained their independent sentience. All other versions of Goku and Vegeta have more or less merged with their alternate selves and ultimately evolved into Zeno Goku and Zeno Vegeta. Gogeto declares that these two are about 10 times stronger than Goku and Vegeta, but you know our Saiyan duo, they need to find it out for themselves, and so this unusual battle between them begins. Within the first second, Goku and Vegeta have already been hit, and not just any hit either. The blows were strong enough to make them blank out, and it was fast. A little too fast considering how most of their fights start slow and gradually catch the pace. Now, in case you're sort of underestimating these numbers, a 10 times difference is humongous. To put this into perspective, if I remember correctly, the Super Saiyan transformation is about a 10 times multiplier. That's a lot. Plus, Zeno Goku and Zeno Vegeta were well versed in transformations that Goku and Vegeta had never even seen before. We're talking about not only Super Saiyan 4, but a different variation of Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, and who knows, maybe the Zeno duo is hiding even more. Goku and Vegeta braced themselves, pushed through, and somehow managed to land an attack of their own, but just a moment later, they're already getting absolutely pummeled by their Zeno counterparts. It's just punch after punch after punch, without giving them any room to breathe, a complete overhaul. Zalama enjoys the show together with Gogeta. Well, isn't this nice? So are you just gonna let your sons get destroyed right in front of you, Zalama asks? Relax, I love all of my sons equally. I mean, just look at their faces. Even though they have no shot at defeating their opponents, their eyes are still alive. The harder the battle, the more the Saiyan soul burns. Plus, we cannot understate the significance of the actual Goku and Vegeta here. Out of all the Saiyans across all the timelines, these two are the ones who bear the strongest connection with me. Remember that. My awakening will awaken something within them, and to be fair, that's all I want to see. Well, I guess that means I do sort of have a soft spot for Goku and Vegeta, Gogeta asserts. But something would go amiss here. Fast forward about 3 minutes and both Goku and Vegeta are experiencing brutal seizure-like effects. It felt as though someone had put their brain in a working blender. The pain and confusion makes them lose their consciousness, but instead of falling down, an immense surge of power emerges from within them and shoots out in all directions. Ah, I see you finally awakened as well. All it took was 1,000 punches and 74 kicks, Zeno Goku states. At that moment, neither Goku nor Vegeta had any idea or awareness about what exactly he was talking about, but one way or another, he was absolutely right about something. After receiving so many powerful blows in such a short amount of time, Goku and Vegeta have finally had their survival instincts unleashed. The new DNA manages to adjust with their own consciousness, and just like that, both Goku and Vegeta have awakened. They still look more or less the same so far, but their baseline power levels and abilities have exploded out of proportion. Seeing this, Gogeta begins to clap. Good, very good. I've seen enough, I'm satisfied. You guys can continue the battle if you want though, he says. As you probably can guess, the battle definitely resumes. Zeno Goku unleashes Ultra Instinct together with his Super Saiyan 4 form, and Zeno Vegito does the same thing, only with Ultra Ego. Goku and Vegeta had definitely experienced a major increase in their power levels, but they still need the experience to fully understand their new capabilities, and so, for now, they just start off by using Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. For the most part, the Zeno duo is still superior to them, at least in terms of experience and technique, but with each exchange of attack, Goku and Vegeta are transcending. They're refining their techniques on the fly, and very soon, Goku and Vegeta are going to enter a completely new dimension of strength and power. Gogeta knows, and that's why he asked the Zeno duo to basically whip them into shape. This was all his plan from the get-go. Meanwhile, in Zeno's palace, "Wow, this sounds so cool," President Zeno says after hearing the Grand Priest's detailed explanation of Gogeta and how he's basically just a glitch in the Matrix. But Zeno is always throwing curveballs, and not even the Grand Priest was prepared for what he was about to say next. Future Zeno would then chime in by saying, "Hey, why not you and the Angels realm fight against Gogeta and the Saiyans realm? It would be better than the Tournament of Power." Now, as Zeno said this, all the Destroyers, the Angels, and even the Supreme Kais of the first 12 universes were already present in the palace. They were summoned right around the time Zalama took off to the Saiyans realm together with Goku and Vegeta. And so, thanks to the Grand Priest absolutely having to fill Zeno in on every little detail, in totality more than 30 jaws dropped simultaneously in this room the moment Zeno made that statement. The Grand Priest himself tried to remain composed, as he knew that another confrontation with Gogeta is not only unavoidable, but he himself was actually looking forward to it. But bringing the entire Angels realm into the mix, well, that's not only crazy, but it's probably bound to make things a little bit more complicated. Well then, you guys heard the Omni King. What do you say? Are you all ready for some action yourselves? The Grand Priest says while facing the 12 Angels. None of them said a word, but this was a long time coming. The glint in their eyes said more than enough. The Angels of the 12 universes, after eternity, were more than ready to get their hands dirty and at the signal of the Grand Priest, go to war with the Saiyan realm. Now, back at the Saiyans realm, Goku and Vegeta were of course continuing their fight against their Zeno selves. Zalama distracts Gogeta from the battle by asking a pretty sincere question. "Hey, so what exactly do you plan on doing next? I don't really care, but I don't want to continue to be enemies with the Grand Priest, so keep that in mind. Gogeta would reply, I don't exactly want him as my enemy either. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I'm not as strong as him, at least not yet. Although, all I really want is to prove that the Saiyans are the ultimate warrior race, that there's no competition. A confrontation with the Grand Priest is but inevitable. Hearing this, Zalama states, cool. And since I'm not a Saiyan, my role will stay limited to just being an observer. Zalama was gonna say more, but a certain individual emerged before them at that very moment. Of course, the ones fighting are all caught off guard, but even Zalama and Gogeta didn't see him coming. It was the Grand Priest, and he seemed as resolute as ever. Fast, Gogeta remarks. Indeed. Even I like to show off every once in a while, the Grand Priest replies, and then gives the signal to the Saiyans to don't mind him and resume fighting. So what brings you here? Is it what I think it is, Gogeta asks? Oh, I'm afraid it's probably even greater than whatever you currently think right now, the Grand Priest declares. You see, I'm not really here on behalf of a peaceful offering. This is more of a warning to prepare yourselves, the Grand Priest declares. This kind of takes Gogeta aback a little bit because outside of him, the Saiyan race hasn't really done anything that blasphemous to call for this, but this is all at the request of the Omni King, the Grand Priest tells them. He wants to see a full-scale clash between the angels and the Saiyans. Silence would of course follow his words as Zalama and Gogeta tried to fully process what they just heard, and then Gogeta would reply, for real? He was psyched now. Gogeta was fully determined to prove the Saiyan race's superiority at some point in the future, but who knew that that chance would show up so soon? He then turns around and walks all the way to his throne. The man then sits in the presence of the Grand Priest and replies, I hereby accept your declaration of war. Once again, an awkward pause follows that statement. Zalama and Gogeta thought that the Grand Priest would excuse himself after the declaration and then come back with his forces. However, he was still there, standing tall in all his mighty glory, exerting dominance without even having to say a word. Ah, I see. So that's what's going on, Gogeta remarks, while the palace begins to get swarmed by the angels, who start popping up one after another. It's not that the Grand Priest had come alone at all, no, he came with his entire race. It's just that everyone else was far too slow. Gogeta bursts into laughter and then pinches his fingers. Just like how the angels popped up one after the other right behind the Grand Priest, this time it's the Saiyans. Starting from the Saiyan legend himself, Yamoshi, all sorts of familiar and unfamiliar faces start appearing. There's a Zeno Gohan, Broly, Future Trunks, Gotenks, Bardock, and Kefla. Every single one of them is tens of thousands of times stronger than they were in their first timelines, and yes, that even goes for Zeno Broly. This version of Broly is so strong, he can grab hyperspace with his bare hands. But unbeknownst to Goku and Vegeta at this time, there was another Saiyan who was from a completely different parallel universe altogether. This man was born as a Super Saiyan 5 and is accompanied with some very sketchy family lineage. And along with Broly and Yamoshi, he is among the top 3 fighters here that aren't Goku or Vegeta. Zeno Gohan is up there as well, but the true limits of his strength are still unknown. In his timeline, the Beast transformation hasn't happened yet, and we all know that Gohan ascends during the battle. Then of course there are the 4 Saiyans who were previously fighting each other, being Goku and Vegeta and Zeno Goku and Zeno Vegeta. And that's it. That is 12 Saiyan warriors who will go up against the 12 angels who are all already here and ready. I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like fun, Goku states. Can't say I'm not enjoying the sight of so many Saiyans in one place, Vegeta says. The Grand Priest then steps forward and explains the rules of this so-called war. Attention, he declares. The moment the Omni Kings arrive, this war will formally begin, and as far as the rules, well, there are no rules. Feel free to kill or jump your enemies how you please. I'm sure Lord Zalama here can take care of any damages. Hey, I'm just an observer, Zalama interrupts. The Omni Kings would arrive shortly after, and so, the cosmic war between the angels and the Saiyans officially begins. As soon as the fighting begins, the Grand Priest destroys the entire palace and then declares, I'm taking over the Saiyan realm. This is war. Gogeta gets up from the throne, looks at him right in the eyes and states, "Then if we win the war, well, I guess we'll be taking over the Angels' realm." Now, the Angels have reigned supreme for who knows how many billions of years, so hearing Gogeta say something like that must have struck more than a few nerves. But still, the first one to make any sort of move is our mysterious Super Saiyan 5 Zykor. As for Goku and Vegeta, they had finally attained it during their battle with the Zeno duo. They've already transcended. Gogeta walks right up to the Grand Priest, followed by Goku and Vegeta. There was no need for words. Gogeto's demeanor was more than enough to tell Goku and Vegeta about what they're doing next. All three of them unleash it at the same time. Right in front of the Angels, Goku, Vegeta, and Gogeta simultaneously transform into a state known as Primal Super Saiyan White. The once in an eternity conflict between the Saiyans and the Angels has officially begun. As for the story up until this point, well, we've already seen the conception of King Gogeta, how he was able to pretty much revive the entire Saiyan race and create his own army, and why the Grand Priest in the God Realm is after him. But what we don't know is what's going on in Gogeta's own head. Why he decided to use Omni Precognition to avoid getting defeated by the Grand Priest even after it had already happened. How he decided to conveniently use the existence of the Timeless Domain to channel his energy throughout the history of the multiverse. How he rewrote the Saiyan DNA itself, and how he revived a dead universe back into existence. All of this and more is about to get explained here. So when Goku and Vegeta from two alternate realities, the Vegito timeline and the Gogeta timeline, were summoned into the Timeless Domain created by the Grand Priest, the intention was to understand the phenomenon of divergence in Universe 7. Why does one timeline have Gogeta while the other has Vegito? They were summoned as Vegito and Gogeta, but during the slugfest with the Destroyers, the two decided to fuse and become Gogeto. And it gave them an almost infinite boost in power. I mean, this is now Ultra Gogeta we're talking about. This instantly breaks the Timeless Domain and resumes the flow of time. Goku's power combined with another Goku's power, and then Vegeta's with another Vegeta's, and then the fusion itself, and so on and so forth. You guys get it. A simpler way to refer to it would be an infinitely compounding loop. The only reason it happened is because the Grand Priest allowed them to be in the Timeless Domain at the same time. Ordinarily, it was something that would have never happened, but it did, and that's why the results are so extraordinary. King Gogeta would absolutely steamroll the Destroyers and then faces off against the Grand Priest, but loses all of that steam after entering the serene Super Saiyan White state, and the fusion would dissolve. It wouldn't have diffused if he didn't break the flow of time, however, and he wouldn't have broken the flow of time if he was predetermined to be in the Timeless Domain. He was sort of an outside force who broke the way things were supposed to be, but this is where it got interesting. Although this happened, the Gogeta from a few moments ago decided to not go through with this sequence of motion. He improvised based on his knowledge of the next moment and appropriated his actions. Well then, how do I stop myself from diffusing, Gogeta wonders, but his brain cells were already pretty much on steroids. But keep in mind, this is all happening in the span of seconds. But Gogeta knew exactly what to do. Suddenly, this guy lets his energy seep out throughout the entire history of the multiverse, and it's easily doable because he has access to all times and all spaces in the multiverse because of where they are right now. History is rewritten. The moment where Yamoshi first transforms into the legendary Super Saiyan gets hijacked, and Gogeta allows him to evolve into a Super Saiyan God. In doing so, the Saiyans effectively became the strongest race. Almost 10 centuries later, Bardock would destroy the last of the Frost Demons. Broly would be born with the single most powerful disposition ever recorded in Saiyan history, but King Vegeta wouldn't be insecure this time. A great celebration would take place, and the king himself labels Broly as the promised boy. But way before this happened, and even before Yamoshi, there was a time in history when the first Saiyan cell emerged into existence. Gogeta's energy connects with that point in time and establishes him as the father of the Saiyan race. That's right, Gogeta rewrote history and made himself the progenitor of his own race. Now, he was no longer just a fusion. He was a completely separate individual, and one whose DNA exists in every single Saiyan alive from that point on. Alright, with this I should never have to worry about diffusion ever again, Gogeta proudly exclaims, but then immediately heads out of the domain. He would then use his spatial awareness to gather up the Super Dragon Balls and summon Super Shenron. He knows that his energy has revived a dead universe, and so he now asks Super Shenron to escalate the evolutionary mechanisms of this place so that he can then use this as his own separate realm, completely independent of the sovereignty of the Grand Priest or Zeno. Super Shenron is stunned, but he would oblige. But cooperation does not mean absence of concern. The great dragon god Zalama was immediately informed of this development by the dragon. So he appeared before Gogeta and asked him one simple thing: why? But Gogeta simply replied, why not? Zalama liked this response. He knows that the desire to be independent of the Grand Priest and Zeno isn't anything unusual. Quite a lot of exceptional individuals have wished for that same thing, but unlike Gogeta, they wanted to take over. They wanted Super Shenron to just hand over the authority of the multiverse to them, but this of course simply just wasn't possible, and upon being found out, they all perished. Zalama would then accompany Gogeta to the 13th universe, relabeled as the Saiyans realm now that it's matured in accordance with his liking. This is when Gogeta would then ask him to teach him an all-powerful summoning skill, but Zalama wasn't quite in the mood. However, he would oblige when Gogeta asked him nicely. Then, after learning this new summoning technique, Gogeta would use his updated memory to summon strong Saiyans from all timelines. Some of these timelines were similar to the first one, while some were completely different. Once tens of thousands of strong Saiyans had been summoned, Gogeta then used Force Spirit Fission to converge everyone's life force with their alternate parts. And just like that, all versions of a certain someone now exist as one. For example, Goku evolves into Zeno Goku after becoming one with countless other alternate selves. However, there was one timeline that remained unaffected by Gogeta's ploys. He was unable to change the first timeline, aka the original timeline of the multiverse. The Goku and Vegeta who participated as Vegito in the fusion exist in this timeline. These two are the only ones who experienced a significant boost in their power after what Gogeta did, simply because they are quite literally a part of him. Other than them, the history and the other Saiyans remained the same as they were before. Gogeta quite liked this though. He knew that the first Goku and the first Vegeta are the only ones befitting to be his right and left hand. So he asked Zalama to go and invite them to come here. Zalama couldn't be bothered, but once again obliges when Gogeta asks him nicely. He goes all the way to Universe 7. And it wasn't just Goku and Vegeta who were taken aback by his sudden appearance. Whis and Beerus kinda want an explanation on what's happening here too. So Zalama basically tells them that the multiverse is going through a period of great change and Gogeta is only a piece of the puzzle. No one can stop this change, not even the Grand Priest or Zeno for that matter, because the multiverse knows who to rule itself. Well, without the need for too much more explanation, Goku and Vegeta very excitedly accompany Zalama to the Saiyans realm. The image of Gogeta could be seen from beyond the cosmos. Gogeta was using projection. He wanted other universes to feel the presence of his realm. He opens up a path which leads them to the throne room, and after a quick exchange of greetings, Gogeta asks Goku and Vegeta to fight their Zeno selves. It was tough. I mean, their Zeno selves could use Super Saiyan 4. They could also use advanced variations of Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego together with their Super Saiyan forms. At first, Goku and Vegeta would get absolutely smoked, as they should, but after 3 minutes of excessive beating, they experience a sudden metamorphosis themselves. Yeah, it's true that their DNA had advanced thanks to Gogeta's meddling, but it hadn't properly meshed with their current existence yet. However, their Zeno selves would give them the Zenkai boost necessary to go even further beyond this. It allows them and their powers to explode out of proportions. Goku and Vegeta become absurdly strong here. Meanwhile, the Grand Priest that summoned the Supreme Kais, the Destroyers, and the Angels of the 12 universes to the palace. And things would escalate very quickly when future Zeno proposes a war between the Angels and the Saiyans. He said it so nonchalantly, but as the Omni King, his word is absolute. In the wake of all of this, the Grand Priest would make a personal appearance in the Saiyan throne room at a level of speed that's still beyond what Gogeta can do, at least at this point. The Grand Priest would then declare war on the Saiyan realm. It certainly doesn't take long for Gogeta to determine that this is unavoidable now, but in a weird way, this is kind of what he wanted. While Zalama continues to make it clear that he isn't a part of any of this, just a mere observer. Now, while all of the Saiyans thought that the Grand Priest would just excuse himself after this declaration of war, what they didn't know is that the Grand Priest army was already on its way. A little frightening seeing just how much faster the Grand Priest is over all of the other angels, but within a few moments, the throne room is swarmed by angels, and we're talking about numbers that actually go beyond 12. Gogeta was honestly enjoying this stunning display of angels. It was almost artistic in a sense, but then he would pinch his fingers, snap, and then his own army would arrive. Yamoshi, the legendary Super Saiyan, the promised boy Broly, the awakened beast Gohan, Trunks, Gotenks, Bardock, Saiyans from each and every timeline, every single universe in existence, and their counterparts. They were all here fighting under King Gogeta, but that's not all. There was still one Saiyan here that made things a little uneasy. Not counting the other Saiyans that appeared, there's one face that stood out, and it was someone who only existed in a singular timeline, an anomaly amidst anomalies, but he was strong enough to attract Gogeta and the Grand Priest's attention. This man's name is Zykor. So don't quote me on this exactly, but there's a saying that the real deal is born strong. While most Saiyans will die before ever reaching Super Saiyan, Zykor was born as a Super Saiyan 5. As for the other four, we have Goku, Vegeta, Zeno Goku, and Zeno Vegeta. This would sum up 12 mortal warriors, and they would go up against the 12 angels that watch over the other 12 universes. But what Gogeta doesn't know and didn't consider at the time is that the existence of his new universe also brought forth the existence of a new angel, one strong enough to subdue any and all inhabitants of this universe, or at least that's what the Grand Priest thinks. Gogeta knew something like this may happen. He kind of foresaw it coming, but rather than revealing his secret friend on the stage, he chooses to keep him hidden. So just like how this angel isn't present yet, a certain someone is also not present, despite the fact that a celestial war has just broken out between the angels and the Saiyans. He lived most of his life beyond the multiverse in a place called Universe Zero. Born from the first Yamoshi, he thrived for millions of years without ever learning that his race is still alive and well outside of Universe Zero. One would think that Gogeta isn't supposed to mess with Universe Zero, however, not even Zalama owns that place. If you're strong and you want something, you just take it. Gogeta knows that in order to be the father of all Saiyans, he cannot neglect Universe Zero. Sooner or later, he'll have no choice but to visit the Saiyan lion Shishido and ask him to participate as the 13th warrior. He was aware of Shishido's desire to belong and wanted to answer it. How and why did he acquire this knowledge? Well, it was thanks to Zalama. The one who saved Shishido's life back when he suddenly showed up in Universe Zero as a newborn was Zalama. Shishido was almost 8 million years old now though, and he may be the only Saiyan in existence who can still give Gogeta a run for his money, but if this 13th angel is already predestined to be stronger than anyone in the Saiyans realm, Gogeta is gonna need Shishido to stay out of it for the time being. Soon enough, the Zeno duo arrives and the war between the angels who have reigned supreme for billions of years and Saiyans, the ultimate warrior race, would begin. The angels are the challengers, or should I say the invaders, and if the Saiyans win, they'll take over the angels realm, but if the angels win, the Saiyans realm will fall under the Grand Priest's jurisdiction. The tension would begin to boil over, but this is when an almost manic look would overcome Zykor's face and he would make the first move. Zykor, using speed unfathomable, disappears and then reappears in front of an angel before his after image even dissolves and lands a disgustingly powerful punch on this angel, instantly knocking him unconscious. And with that first strike, the war has officially begun. Gogeta walks forth, and then together with Goku and Vegeta, they unleash their Super Saiyan White transformation together. If becoming the king is what it takes to prove that my people are stronger, then sure. I have no problem being the king then, Gogeta declares as he orders all of his Saiyans to advance at once, and they would all proceed under that command of their new King Gogeta as the Saiyan vs Angel war officially begins. So Zykor will be the first one to come into action, therefore all eyes are on him, but something is still unusual. He can feel the glare of the angels, however none of them are attacking or even intimidating him. Grand Priest, what's this? I've already told my men to advance, and yet none of your fellows have taken a step even after Zykor's provocation, Gogeta asks. The Grand Priest grins and replies, it's because they know. All of them already know that this entire vicinity, everything, is under my control. There's simply no need for them to act. What do you mean, Gogeta asks? Listen, Gogeta, this man is fully intent on winning this war all by himself. This is what he means. Zalama answers Gogeta's question in the Grand Priest's stead. Goku and Vegeta, on the other hand, exchange glances with Whis. There are no words, just silence, but even Goku and Vegeta know the true intent of this war is to see who's better. There's no way they're gonna lose to Whis, not them. Listen, Kakarot, leave Whis to me. I was the one who first asked him to take me as his disciple, and I should be the one who surpasses and defeats him, Vegeta requests. I understand, Vegeta. To be honest, I'm not even interested in the angels. I'd rather fight that guy from earlier who knocked out an angel. He seems oddly familiar, Goku replies. Whatever, do as you please. And speaking of familiar faces, I get the feeling that as long as we're here, I'll never run out of faces to look at. There are just too many people. Too chaotic, Vegeta says. Going back to the Grand Priest and Gogeta, Zykor overhears the Grand Priest say that the war will come to an end without any action from the other angels. He feels insulted and proceeds to do something that even Gogeta was feeling reserved about. He jumps from his position, eclipses right past Gogeta and Zalama, and then braces himself to land a sinister kick on the Grand Priest's head himself. Zykor simply believes that he'll permanently change the tide of this war by himself. He has no concept of universes or power hierarchies because back where he's from, he was the strongest. It was the single undeniable truth of that alternate reality. Unfortunately, one's beliefs about themselves aren't always true. Right as Zykor's leg is approaching the Grand Priest's head at an astonishingly fast speed, it begins to slow down. It continues to slow down to the millionth and then down to the billionth fraction of a second. I do not mind recklessness, but self-destruction is a different breed. See this, Zykor? The thing that is stopping you from attacking me is the infinity that exists between us. You can try for all eternity, but you'll never reach me, the Grand Priest states. He then prepares to make an example out of Zykor so that the other Saiyans can decide for themselves if they truly believe that they are the mightier race. Though right as he grabs Zykor's arm with the intention of ripping it off, both Goku and Zeno Goku appear on either side and grab his arms. Not so fast, your highness. We kinda like this guy, they state. The Grand Priest laughs and then pulverizes their arms instead. Of course, he had deliberately let them touch him. Gogeta would see all of this happen a few seconds ago thanks to his premonition, which allowed him the luxury of stepping in so that he can avoid it if he needed to. And he does exactly that. Gogeta elapses beyond them after pushing both Goku and Zeno Goku a little away from each other. He also kicks Zykor away as it was too early to lose someone like him just yet, and then Gogeta faces the Grand Priest himself. Eye to eye. How very bold, Gogeta, but are you sure you want to fight me so early in the game? The Saiyan realm will lose face if the first one who goes down is the king himself, the Grand Priest states. You underestimate me, and for the sake of my people, I won't tolerate any more disrespect, Gogeta replies. The tension was there. Gogeta could tell that the Grand Priest has a hold on everyone's location. He can bend the reality to his will, but what about Gogeta? He created Universe 13 in his image. It's basically his energy. so Gogeta will use some sort of an Uno reverse card here. He extends his presence to all of the angels in the vicinity and makes the Grand Priest realize that he's not the only one who has the authority to bend the laws of physics to their will. Zalama laughs. "Looks like you won't be able to solo this verse by yourself, oh Grand Priest," he says. "Oh, give me a break. I knew what I was up against. Just wanted to make sure if this man is the real deal or not." "Rejoice, Gogeta. You pass," the Grand Priest replies, and then he gives all the angels a signal. A signal that tells them to advance. Vegeta immediately dashes forth and confronts Whis. "Looks like we both have the same hair color now, Vegeta. How do you reckon this war will end?" Whis says. "Who knows? Who cares? Don't distract yourself with the war, Whis. My opponent for today is you. I can tell that you're the strongest angel that's not the Grand Priest. Beating you would be an honor," Vegeta replies. He was bold, but prepared nonetheless. Zeno Broly is wreaking absolute havoc across the battlefield. He's knocked out cold about 100 angels until finally, Awamo, the Angel of Universe 1, stops him in his tracks. Gohan is seemingly walking around whilst dodging attacks and avoiding confrontations. He seeks to have a full-scale view of everything and also to find out if the angels are hiding someone strong. Coincidentally, Bardock had the same idea. He greets Gohan, and although neither of them know each other, they know that they can trust each other. "You know, you look a lot like my dad," Gohan says. "Really? Who knows? Maybe your dad is my son," Bardock laughs. This version of Bardock definitely liked to keep things a little bit candid. However, before their conversation could lead to anything productive, Mojito from Universe 9 appears before them and requests a battle. "I can tell that you two are gauging the enemy. That's commendable. Let me request a battle against you two. I'm sure it'll be fun," Mojito asks. Out of all 12 angels that serve the destroyers, he is the most disingenuous. In many ways, he's the complete opposite of Gohan or Bardock. Meanwhile, Makarita from Universe 11 was toying with the Saiyan masses that stood behind Gogeto's 12 pillars. She continues to walk amidst them and make them fall unconscious just from the terror of her presence. Though one man was far too proud to succumb. "I've already forsaken my pride once before. Not again. Never again," states King Vegeta, the final ruler of planet Vegeta. He faces Makarita right in the eye and initiates a Big Bang attack. He already knows that it'll be futile, but there's just something to be said about dying for the sake of your honor. Though 30 seconds ago, one of the 12 pillars, the one we refer to as Future Trunks, saw the commotion. He saw Makarita ravaging the Saiyans and decided to act. He reaches them right on time and saves King Vegeta from getting massacred by Makarita. "That was close," he says. Right now, Trunks was in his Ascended Rage transformation. It's pretty much an evolved form of the same Rage transformation Trunks used against Zamasu, however it was completed thanks to Gogeto's DNA. He's now about almost, if not just as strong as Vegeta was in the Tournament of Power. "Impressive, young man. Just who are you?" the king asks. "Vegeta's son and Bulma's baby." Trunks says this little sentence and then bails off without another word. The king, though, he does eventually put two and two together, realizing that Trunks is his grandson, and lets out a contagious laughter that echoes through the Saiyan ranks. It fuels everyone's adrenaline, giving them the energy and the willpower to keep fighting. The Angel of Universe 8 named Korn was observing the scenario from up above. "Inspiring your people with laughter? I don't think we angels are capable of something that preposterous," Korn comments. He's indifferent to the war and seeks to observe everything that's going on for the time being. Then you have our other fusions, Gotenks and Kefla, and these two are also one of the 12 pillars. They're just kinda having fun trying to defeat the weaker angels, but to no one's surprise, neither of them have landed a W yet or even a solid punch. Still, they are at least competitive with each other, which is good for the time being. This then brings us to Xeno Vegeta. He alone is sitting on a rock with his eyes closed. It was intriguing enough that Zalama personally reached out to him and asked, "What's wrong, Vegeta? How come you aren't participating in the war?" he asks. "Keep your concerns to yourself, Lord Zalama. My participation in this war is already in play," Xeno Vegeta replies. Oh my god, what a weird kid, Zalama remarks, and then looks back at the confrontation between King Gogeta and the Grand Priest. How about it? We both just release our holds on each other's races and let the kids brawl it out amongst themselves, Gogeta proposes. Isn't that what's going on? The Grand Priest replies. No. I can tell you're still expending a stupid amount of energy by focusing your prowess on everyone fighting underneath. How can I fight you when you're barely even here? Please cut the crap, Gogeta sincerely states. The Zeno duo would overhear this and tell the Grand Priest to do it. They want to see him fight too. Just focus on fighting this guy Gogeta. He looks strong and awesome. Very well then, the Grand Priest replies as he releases his hold on all of the angels, and in return, Gogeta does the same to the Saiyans. The two of them then approach each other step by step. They're literally walking just in space, and then, when they're within fighting distance, both the Grand Priest and Gogeta land a punch on each other's faces the good old school way. I'm surprised you obliged so easily, Gogeta comments. Well, answering Zeno-sama's call is my duty after all. Unless it's something unreasonable, of course, then I'll use my own judgment, the Grand Priest replies. I still don't understand why someone like you is below the Omni King in the power hierarchy. What makes you inferior, Gogeta asks. The Grand Priest would meet Gogeta's gaze and then let out a chuckle. If you honestly think being someone's attendant makes one inferior to them, then your intelligence is just as fleeting as your little universe. Don't delude yourself into thinking you ever have a shot at becoming anything in the multiverse. I have a little surprise prepared for you actually, the Grand Priest declares. Oh yeah? Well, consider me surprised because I prepared a little surprise for your surprise. Seriously, I wonder what Shishido is doing right now, Gogeta declares back. She who? The Grand Priest asks. Meanwhile, in Universe 0, Shishido has a vision of someone. As Gogeta being a god of destruction, technically, he's supposed to be assigned an angel that is theoretically stronger than him. But there is no such angel. The only one from their race who is stronger than Gogeta currently is the Grand Priest himself. However, the multiverse gave the newly appointed 13th angel an almost inconceivable level of surge in power so that he can easily suppress Gogeta if needed. The Grand Priest has been hiding that angel. That guy is still back in the angel's realm. The one who decides the rules of reality is not the Grand Priest or Zeno, it's the multiverse itself. Now that the multiverse had decided that this 13th angel will be stronger than Gogeta, it's impossible for Gogeta to win. But Gogeta is somewhat of an astute man himself. He knows that the Grand Priest is plotting, and thanks to the dragon god Zalama, he learned of a Saiyan that lived for millions of years in a realm called Universe 0 that basically exists outside of the multiverse. The Saiyan named Shishido. Shishido will serve as the counter to the 13th Saiyan. Indeed, both the Grand Priest and Gogeta have done a great job anticipating the nature of the multiverse, but both of them couldn't even begin to comprehend that there is a Goku and Vegeta that exists in the future of Universe 0. They're both limited to the known multiverse, and so they fail to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. And for anybody that's new here, the universe that this What If is taking place in is going to link directly to our Universe 0 fan manga as well. So be sure to go check out our Universe 0 fan manga as well. It'll explain who all of these characters are. Now, while Vegeta faces off against Whis in a pristine battle of movements, Zeno Vegeta has yet to make a single move. He's alone and quietly observing the entire scene, patiently awaiting for the moment that'll require his involvement. Zeno Broly was confronted by the Angel of Universe 1 named Awamo, and it had been well over 3 hours since their battle had began. Yes, in the beginning, Broly was unable to deal any damage, however, the same could be said about Awamo. Despite the Angel of Universe 1, which is one of the 2 ultimate universes, he hasn't been able to contain Broly. Which is a problem, because as the duration of the battle increases, Broly's power level continues to explode. At one point, he becomes so strong and chaotic that the only thing keeping him from completely destroying everything is Awamo's perfect movements thanks to Ultra Instinct keeping Broly at bay. Young man, you are a menace. If it was our god of destruction in my steed, you would have already destroyed him. How can someone grow at such an exponential rate? It barely makes any sense, Owamo comments, but of course Broly was too consumed with his own raging power to even hear him. Subsequently, Zykor, who kinda got his ass handed to him by the Grand Priest, now realizes that being all hasty and rash, especially with the Grand Priest, probably isn't the way. He spent his previous life believing himself to be the strongest, but prudence is something that he's just now learned. Still, it isn't that simple to change oneself. He looks around the battlefield to see what's the next most interesting thing after the Grand Priest, of course, and he notices Broly raging himself ragged and sending ripples of potent energy everywhere. Zykor sees this as a cue to act. He launches himself at a crazy speed and punches Broly right in the head. The punch was so strong that it made Broly experience a seizure in that very moment. "Wake up! This is not how you fight," Zykor says. Coincidentally, both Goku and Zeno Goku are observing Broly from a distance. They see what Zykor did and immediately just shoot him a thumbs up. Zykor can tell that he's related to them somehow. Broly pauses for a moment to catch his breath. It seems that he's finally conscious of his power, and he punches Zykor right back to return the favor. Seeing this, Owamo realizes that the odds are now kinda stacked against him. Well, not only will Broly's movements be more dignified from here on out, but there's this unpredictable guy named Zykor as well. The Angel of Universe 2 named Sour notices Owamo in a distraught state. He immediately teleports right next to him and braces himself to fight the two Saiyans together with him. Moving on to Bardock and Gohan now, they were confronted by Mojito, the Angel of Universe 9. "Hey, some of our Saiyan brethren are using transformations other than Super Saiyan. What's that about? You think I can do that too?" Bardock asks. "Well, to be completely honest with you, only my dad and Vegeta can use the higher level transformations. I was able to bring out a new beast-like form once too, but I haven't been able to use it again since then," Gohan replies. "Maybe you need a trigger. Anyways, Gohan, I've been meaning to ask you this. You said I look a lot like your dad. Could it be that your dad's name is Kakarot?" Bardock asks. Just as Gohan hears this, he completely stops. "Yes, and no way. Could it be that you're my dad's dad?" Bardock laughs. "I knew it." Then, without warning, Mojito moves. He appears right behind Bardock, which prompts the man to turn around, but by the time he turns around, Mojito appears in front of him and lands a clean kick to the gut. Gohan observes all of this happening. "I had no idea angels could move so crudely," he says, but Mojito completely ignores him. Somewhere else on the battlefield, Yamoshi is walking around when he comes across Zeno Vegeta. "Ah, you're Yamoshi. How has the war been for you, my friend?" Vegeta asks. "Honestly, I've never experienced anything quite so grandiose before, not even in my dreams," Yamoshi replies. Vegeta grins a little and states, "I don't think any of us have." "Anyways, Vegeta, what do you think? Why are you just sitting on this rock?" Yamoshi asks. Zeno Vegeta then stands up, pats Yamoshi on the shoulder and states, "Listen, my friend, as far as I'm concerned, this war hasn't even begun. Sure, the Saiyans have taken out a few angels here and there, but as long as the 12 angels continue to stand, there is no victory. This is just the prelude. The actual war will begin when the angels stop looking down on the Saiyans and actually take this serious." As Zeno Vegeta says this, a man shows up behind them. It's King Vegeta. "Very well said, Vegeta. I'm proud of you, my son," King Vegeta says. "Go back, old man. I have zero respect for you." "You're weak," Zeno Vegeta replies. "What do you mean, son? Look, I can also transform into a Super Saiyan now," he says, and in reply, Zeno Vegeta says nothing. He simply points out to the most heated battle in the war. The battle between Vegeta and Whis. "My, you've become very perceptive, Vegeta. I'm honestly impressed. This new power of yours is very interesting," Whis comments while blocking Vegeta's kick. "It doesn't even matter at this point, Whis. Now that we're able to make physical contact with each other, I just have to overpower you myself," Vegeta replies while flashing his new Super Saiyan White form. leaving Whis honestly surprised that Vegeta is able to make physical contact with him with this new form. Although you could attribute it to Gogeto's DNA running through all of the Saiyans right now, what Vegeta is pulling off against Whis right now is without a doubt stunning. "Oh really?" Whis adds, and then slaps Vegeta with his staff. "Damn it, this speed is too fast. Tell me, Whis, who among the 12 angels is the strongest? It's you, isn't it?" he asks. In reply, Whis looks at Vegeta dead in his eye and simply says, "No comment." Meanwhile, the Grand Priest and Gogeta are in the middle of an important verbal exchange. "I assume you're hiding another friend? What do you mean by Shishido? Who is he?" the Grand Priest asks. "I'll explain, but first, why not reveal that little surprise you had prepared for me? I'm also pretty curious," Gogeta replies. This is when the Zeno duo chimes in as well, saying, yes, Gogeta does have a point, reveal it, reveal the surprise. So now that the Grand Priest is hearing this, he has to do it. Alright, since it seems we can't hide anything from each other, I'm sure you can also imagine what it is. Stating this, the Grand Priest shows Gogeta a vision of the individual that was currently on standby in the Angel's realm. This individual was no doubt an angel themselves. Is this who was appointed as the angel of my universe? What's her name? Gogeta asks. Her name is Zodas, and I'd be very careful with her, Gogeta. Inside this universe, she's not only going to be stronger than you, she'll be even closer to me than ever. It's the way the multiverse works. If something unusual happens, then usually it strikes back in unusual ways, the Grand Priest replies. I see. Does that mean Zodas will be strong enough to defeat anybody if she stays inside this universe? Gogeta asks. Damn near, the Grand Priest replies. This makes Gogeta burst into laughter. Everyone stops to see what they're doing and looks at Gogeta. Zalama also laughs. Okay, Gogeta, well now it's your turn to reveal whatever you're hiding, he says. This is when, for the first time in a long time, the Grand Priest is reminded of one realm that he can't influence. He finally realizes what's up here. Well, since you're being so secretive and think you have the one up on me, is it that you have somebody from Universe Zero by any chance, the Grand Priest says? As clever as I would ever expect, Grand Priest. Shishido, the man I spoke of earlier, was originally born in Universe 13 millions of years ago. He was the son of the first Yamoshi who was erased because of Lord Zeno. But in his final moments, Yamoshi used a forbidden technique to eject his son out of the multiverse. He was found by Zalama, who then looked after the boy until he was strong enough to survive in Universe Zero by himself. Though here's where things get a little interesting. This universe that I've created is not the same universe as the Universe 13 that used to exist here. Otherwise, the deactivated angel of this universe would have been reinstated, but that isn't what happened. A new angel came into being, which means that Shishido, a Saiyan who isn't a resident of the multiverse, should have a shot at overpowering Zodas, Gogeta declares. The Grand Priest grins. Bravo, Gogeta. You've really outdone yourself on this one. But are you sure Shishido will be able to handle Zodas? He doesn't even have your superior DNA, he says. Yes, you're right, but whatever, man. I'll always put my faith in my Saiyan brethren. These boys have so much potential, Gogeta replies. Though, what about you? Do you really think you'll be able to defeat me, the Grand Priest asks? Well, technically the war won't ever end unless one of us loses, so I guess I have to beat you, Gogeta declares. He was ready for anything, but if he was being honest, he also didn't really have the utmost confidence in single-handedly defeating the Grand Priest. I mean, that's insane to think. Subsequently, Zalama uses his celestial orb to see what the situation is in Universe Zero, but what he sees next leaves him lost for words. Gogeto's birth was basically the Grand Priest's fault. If he hadn't intervened when he did, there wouldn't have been a Gogeta, and so Goku and Vegeta would have continued living their lives. Therefore, the original timeline is the one where the Grand Priest never intervened. The flow of everything would continue as usual in that timeline. Vegeta became the god of destruction while Goku was cursed with the Omni Key after a freak accident between Majin Buu and Oob. It eventually led to a full-scale battle with the Grand Priest of the original timeline. Goku and Vegeta lost, and so they were banished from the multiverse for abusing the laws. However, time in Universe Zero doesn't work the same way as time in the multiverse. When Zalama takes a look, What he sees is Goku and Vegeta right next to Shishido, which drops his jaw. Now what's going on, Zalama wonders, as our Saiyans from Universe Zero seem to be ready to make an entrance at any time. Zalama looked into Universe Zero and saw versions of Goku and Vegeta from the future who are now training with Shishido. For an instant, he feels overwhelmed by this realization but remains composed. Now what, oh Grand Priest? This won't get fixed with just universal erasure. You're gonna have to kill the entire Saiyan race and banish their souls to Universe Zero. Otherwise, the multiverse, as you and I both know it, will never go back to how it used to be, Zalama declares. The Grand Priest is taken off guard by this statement, especially because it's unusual for Zalama to be so serious, but the ones who truly felt paralyzed are the Saiyans, especially Gogeto. Hey Zalama, hold up. What exactly do you mean by killing off the entire Saiyan race? I thought we were friends. We even had coffee together, man. Gogeto asks. Relax, I'll have you play Shog with me in Universe Zero. For now, the best course of action is eliminating all of the Saiyans and then this Saiyan realm. It'll restore the balance to the universe, Zalama replies. He was getting a little frantic now. No way, you have no idea how hard I worked for this, and isn't Universe Zero just a shadow realm? I don't want that, Gogeto continues. Come on, Grand Priest, let's square off. If this is what it's gonna be about, the Saiyan race should just take over the multiverse. It'll be a new age with me as the new Grand Priest. Zalama immediately appears in front of Gogeto and slaps him across his face. You still don't understand what's going on, Gogeto. You yourself are a mistake. Damn. I was interested at first, but don't you think the multiverse matters more than your stupid pride? Hearing this, Gogeto experiences a strong, almost irrational surge of anger, but he doesn't strike back at Zalama. In fact, he didn't even mind the slap. What actually kind of pissed him off a little bit were the words Zalama chose to say. Gogeto looks Zalama right back in his eye, maintaining a safe distance still, and says, "My stupid pride? What does that even mean?" Heed these words, Zalama. The universe be damned, but there is one thing a Saiyan always keeps: one's pride. Then, right as he finishes saying this, Gogeto raises his hand and signals all of the Saiyans to step it up. And they do. The next thing the angels see are the lifeless bodies of Wawamo and Sour, the angels of Universe 1 and 2. Broly and Zykor were going absolutely crazy. They pulverized the angels and are still ready for anything, but of course, the other angels are now wary of them. The battle between Whis and Vegeta is still nowhere near its conclusion, and it's clear that both sides are pretty evenly matched if you can believe that. While Gohan and Bardock look like they could honestly use some help against Mojito, the Angel of Universe 9. Gohan tried tapping into his beast transformation, but it still hasn't worked yet. It seems that he'd need an external trigger maybe, which is why they need help, and fast. With the way things are, it'll be impossible for them to last against Mojito, let alone try and defeat him. Gohan, you should go get your father. I'm pretty sure my son can take care of someone like this guy. Go ahead and get him, Bardock states. As he said this, he was just a mere Super Saiyan. His chances of surviving against an angel were exactly 0, but Gohan sees the flare in his eyes, respects his wishes, and flies off in order to search for Goku. Subsequently, Zeno Vegeta pesters King Vegeta for never being as much of a king as Gogeto was right now. It seems Gogeto's words about the Saiyan pride resonated with everyone, even Yamoshi, who fought once against the tyranny of that same pride. Gohan soon returns with Goku, but by that point, Bardock was barely holding on to his life. Mojito was a sadist to say the least. He looks down on all other races, and so he made sure to make Bardock exhaust every last of his life fumes before the man couldn't physically go on any longer. However, Goku has now arrived. He grabs Mojito's wrist and gets him to his knees using sheer power alone. What's with you? Whis is nowhere near as twisted as you, and it's also a lot stronger than you, Goku says. He then looks at Bardock and Gohan. These two are in the 12 Saiyan pillars who are supposed to parallel the 12 angels, but Gohan still hasn't tapped into his beast mode yet, and Bardock doesn't know anything beyond the regular Super Saiyan, if that much. Though right before Goku could say another word to them, Bardock would call out to him. "Listen, son. Tell me how to go beyond the Super Saiyan. I'll catch up to you before you know it. Just you wait," he says, as he then collapses right then and there. Goku laughs it up a little and then signals to Gogeta, who immediately appears in front of him. Mojito pushes Goku out of the way and tries to attack Gogeta as he's convinced that he can take out the enemy commander all by himself, but the next thing he sees, complete darkness. Gogeta dusted him off before he even knew what happened. Mojito falls down to the ground, and having finished him off, Gogeta would ask Goku, "So what's up?" Gogeta, or King Gogeta, excuse me. "Help Gohan and this Bardock guy, who is apparently my father, unlock higher levels of strength so that they can fight as well. Or what else did you even choose to measure pillars for?" Goku states. Gogeta knew exactly what Goku was talking about, and he also knew the best way to go about it, thankfully. "Step back, Goku. I'll flood their nervous system with fabricated memories. That'll wake them right up," Gogeta replies. He then puts both Gohan and Bardock in a trance-like state where they're forced to witness absurdly painful events happen right before their eyes again and again. Imagine your most hated and painful dreams and hallucinations just being played over and over and over again. These guys were basically being put through the Tsukuyomi right now. Bardock would see that moment when he sent off Goku to Earth, Frieza's ship appearing and destroying his son's space pod. Gohan would see Pan getting killed for real. Gogeta was ruthless. He forced them into experiencing these events as if they were real, and they'll keep experiencing such events until they become strong enough to destroy any opponent. Gohan would soon unleash his beast transformation and braces himself for any and everything. As for Bardock, in that brief moment, he was forced to spend 10 years experiencing the most tragic events imaginable. At the end of it, Bardock finally opens his eyes. He doesn't unlock Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue or anything complicated like that. No. What stumbled upon Bardock was the true rage of a Super Saiyan. Then, as the progenitor of the universe, Gogeta makes it so that enraged Bardock sees some moonlight. Gogeta would basically bait Bardock's consciousness into becoming a Super Saiyan 4. And with that, now we have Beast Gohan and enraged Super Saiyan 4 Bardock working together as a team. I don't know who's going to be able to take these two down. "Oh, great," Goku states. "That was better than I thought it was going to be. You really can do anything, Gogeta. That was really cool." "Thanks, but not even close. I can still tell that the Grand Prix sees me as no threat even at this moment. We need to figure out a way to ascend more. There should be a much higher level of Saiyan potential that we're currently unaware of, right?" Gogeta replies. Following this, Zeno Vegeta would walk right up to them. "Kakarot, what do you say to another fusion? We have 2 Vegeta and 2 Kakarot right here on this battlefield. If done right, we could become another Gogeta, and then, well, there will be someone else strong enough for you to fuse with," Zeno Vegeta states. "Not quite, Vegeta. If I were to fuse with someone else, even with myself, believe it or not, it would be a nerf, not a power-up. It's impossible to quickly defeat the Grand Priest, and so the entire pretense of a fusion is senseless," Gogeta replies. The Grand Priest, on the other hand, is currently trying to explain to the Zeno duo that this is not just mere entertainment anymore. "Can't you just erase the Saiyans after you win the war? We're enjoying this, it's so much fun," they say. "Yes, but Gogeta is planning on bringing other people from the universe. They're gonna mess up everything," the Grand Priest replies. Hearing this, their eyes actually light up. Now the Zeno duo has more things to look forward to. "This is hopeless," the Grand Priest tells Zalama. And so, the Dragon God replies, "Well, what if we just let it happen? Like from now on, whatever happens, happens. Don't be so ridiculous. I have a responsibility. Besides, this is my mistake to begin with. I'm even willing to sacrifice myself if that's what it would take to restore everything," the Grand Priest replies. Right away, he receives a telepathic message from Zodas, the angel back home. "Well, if that's the case, can I be the next Grand Priest?" Zodas asks. "Well, what's the rush? Calm down," the Grand Priest replies. "Well, I've been watching over the battle, and the Saiyans have already taken out 3 of the 12 angels. When are you gonna invite me to this party?" he asks. Actually, I was planning on getting rid of you together with this 13th universe, and of course, also the Saiyan race. We'll make it so these guys never existed, and just like that, everything will be back nice and normal again, the Grand Priest declares. He then hangs up on Zodas and moves. Within an instant, he's already standing on the ground below. Awamo, Sour, Mojito, wake up. Suddenly, the three angels that were defeated begin to rise again as they were completely rejuvenated. Maybe my senses have gone unstable because they now look stronger than they were before, Bardock comments. I agree, Gohan adds. That's some power from the Grand Priest. Gogeta walks up to the Grand Priest and says, are we finally getting serious now? For a moment, everyone on the battlefield would stop whatever they were doing and simply observe this encounter between Gogeta and the Grand Priest. No doubt the Grand Priest was shorter than Gogeta, but it was almost as if their eyes were lying to them because from what they were seeing, the Grand Priest felt and seemed bigger. Pause. He seemed so much bigger than Gogeta that it didn't even make sense. What an overwhelming presence, Vegeta states. Indeed. Looks like Father's about to get serious, Whis replies. Gogeta without a doubt felt intimidated, but he still chose to stand his ground and made the first move. He plunges forward, cleverly hides all traces of movement as to not give away what he's planning to do, and then attacks the Grand Priest's staff. Unfortunately, the Grand Priest was already a few light years ahead of him. Time elapses, and the next thing you see is Gogeta's face getting grabbed and then slammed into the ground right in front of the Grand Priest's feet. Listen, Gogeta. Pride means honor. If you aren't honorable enough to give your life for the sake of the multiverse to go back to normal, I have zero respect for you, the Grand Priest declares. You do realize that it was your careless mistake that resulted in this mess, don't you? Maybe the multiverse likes things better this way. Come on, shake some of that dust off of those fossilized brain cells. Change isn't always so bad, Gogeta replies. The Grand Priest was gonna reply again, of course, but he instead paused because of an odd request from the Zeno duo. He was asked to bring Zodas to the battlefield so that Gogeta can bring his guys too. The Grand Priest pinches his fingers and summons Zodas from the Angel's realm. Seeing this, Gogeta gives Zalama the hand signal. They may have had an argument earlier, but both Gogeta and Zalama also know how important it is to see this thing through all the way into the end. Zalama excuses himself, enters Universe Zero, and then returns with not only Shishido, the son of Yamoshi, but also the original versions of both Goku and Vegeta who were never affected by Gogeta's DNA recoding. In simpler words, our main timeline Goku and Vegeta are finally here, ready to give it all for the entirety of the Saiyan race. Grand Priest knew what was coming because of his dialogue with Gogeta, but this was beyond his understanding. Shishido and Vegeta aside, why is Goku carrying the void? Care to explain this, Gogeta? The Grand Priest asks, as he was not in a pleasant mood anymore. For once, I'm just as confused as you. Why were these two in Universe Zero? How does that even make sense? Gogeta replies. Goku and Vegeta, on the other hand, just look at each other. I mean, they can't even bring themselves to say anything because they're kind of shocked at what they're looking at too. A few moments ago, they were training with Shishido to take on Shishido's son, but now they're in a multiversal battle between the Angels and the Saiyans. I mean, what the hell is going on here on all angles? The version of Vegeta that was fighting against Whis also notices this. He knows that Whis is the only one who can properly explain the entire situation, and so he temporarily pauses their battle and requests Whis to go and explain everything to the actual MCs, I guess you can call it. Meanwhile, the Grand Priest's aura has started increasing exponentially. Before Gogeta could at least counter him to some extent, but that was no longer possible, it seems. Gogeta can manipulate the laws of an entire universe to his will, but the Grand Priest literally commands infinity, and we cannot forget that. Seeing this absolutely insane surge causes Zalama to act, as he appears right before the Grand Priest, stares him in the face and says what honestly needed to be said. You do understand what's going on, right? The mediator of the multiverse shouldn't be acting so rashly, he says. However, this was definitely not enough to stop the Grand Priest. Unlike what it seemed to be on the surface, he wasn't acting irrationally at all. Lord Zalama, I'm afraid destruction is the only way to bring balance back to the multiverse. It's not me who is acting rashly, it's honestly Gogeto, and with all due respect, you are the one who has been humoring him so far. Hearing this, Gogeto could no longer stand idly by, as he approached them both and asked, "So what are you planning on destroying, Grand Priest?" With the Grand Priest stating, "Oh, your universe, perhaps the entire Saiyan race in its entirety, I'm not too sure yet. I apologize for the inconvenience, Gogeta, but your race is now an enemy of the multiverse, and that's just how it is." Now, Broly would start to sense a disgusting amount of bloodlust from within the Grand Priest. His instincts start screaming, alerting him of the danger in sight, and there was no choice left but to fight. Broly would eclipse from his current positioning straight to the coordinates where the Grand Priest, Zalama, and Gogeta were having that important discussion, and this would all happen in a single instance. Broly uses his own life force as fuel to unleash the strongest possible attack his singular Saiyan soul was capable of, something called the Cosmic Omega Storm. Broly wasn't scared of death though. He already knew that there was a good chance that they were all gonna die here anyway. What he is scared of is the idea that the Grand Priest has still not even reached his peak yet. The three individuals directly in the path of the attack see it coming. Gogeta would use instant transmission to easily get out of the way. Zalama merely excuses himself because the attack isn't intended for him in the first place, while the Grand Priest sticks around. He observes the Cosmic Omega Storm until he can practically taste it. It's almost touching his nose, but makes it evaporate by merely blinking. It was at this moment that the war finally stopped. Be it the enraged Super Saiyan 4 Bardock, the Angel of Universe 9, Yamoshi, Zykor, or even Kefla, it did not matter. All of the angels and all of the Saiyans just stopped fighting. What was the point? Outside of Gogeta, Broly was by far the strongest amongst the Saiyans, and he fueled an attack using his very own life force, but all it took was a blink from the Grand Priest and poof, it was gone, disappeared, reduced to nothing. Forget measuring up to a fraction of the Grand Priest's power, Broly was too insignificant to even warrant an action. This is when everyone realized this isn't a war. This is one man's playground. Or was it? Because the Grand Priest seemed visibly upset after what just happened, but why? Who was it? Who? He asked while looking in the direction of Goku and Vegeta. Which one of you was it? And he isn't the only one confused at what just happened either. Zalama and Gogeta are also perplexed because they also saw what happened. The confusion leads to havoc as everyone begins to wonder what exactly just went on, since it appears that it wasn't actually the Grand Priest who blinked Broly out of existence. Flashback to a few moments ago. Whis is done explaining the context behind the war to Goku and Vegeta. Shishido has never been outside of Universe 0, so he doesn't even bother. Whis finishes talking right about the time when the Grand Priest revs up his engine. However, little did he know that this Goku from the main timeline, who was once cursed because of the Omni Key, is no longer Goku. What exists within him is the infinite void made from the inherent darkness of the universe. Yes, it wasn't the Grand Priest who made Broly disappear, it was Omni Goku. Having fought the Grand Priest before, Goku knew that Broly's life force would go to waste, and so his instinctual desire to save Broly allows him to command the void. He absorbs the attack and becomes one with Broly's chaos. It was me, Grand Priest, and I'm not gonna let you walk all over us like the last time, Goku declares. Nonsense, the Grand Priest replies. He summons Kanji, an angel from Universe 0, and asks him to explain whatever is wrong with Goku. The explanation takes several minutes, but at the end of it, the Grand Priest would laugh. I see. It all makes sense now. You consumed the Omni Key and then went on to get yourself rejected by the multiverse. That doesn't sound too pleasant to me, Goku, but fortunately looks like you survived somehow and have now harnessed the potential of said curse. Impressive. I'll be straightforward with you, Goku. Absorb the two Omni Kings and become the new ruler of the multiverse. That is your best shot at securing the future of the Saiyan race. Don't be reckless. Let us move towards a better future, the Grand Priest asserts. But this was not the same Goku he was talking to. He continued to experience inconceivable levels of mental and psychological torture even in Universe Zero. Goku knows that he has to live with this pain, and therefore he's always in a state of somewhat controlled anger, I guess you could say. Right now, Goku's instincts are only telling him one thing.
Devour the Grand Priest. Destroy him. Do it.
Gogeta flies over to Vegeta and Shishido and asks the important question. So, can Goku actually defeat this guy? Can he really beat the Grand Priest, he asks. Not a chance. We fought the Grand Priest before and ended up getting banished to Universe Zero in the first place. So I think Kakarot knows this and is just playing it tough right now, Vegeta replies. I agree with Vegeta. Controlling the void sounds good in theory, but it just simply isn't possible. The void is a curse, not a source of energy. I don't even think Kakarot would be able to defeat us right now, Shishido says. So we're toast, aren't we? Gogeta replies. Pretty much, Vegeta adds. Shishido would then go on to ask Gogeta about why he was specifically called here, because Gogeta is pretty much the head honcho of the Saiyans and seems like the strongest amongst them, so what would he be necessary for? So this is when he's finally informed about the angel assigned to Universe 13 and how only Shishido would be able to defeat them. Gogeta would then point right at Zodas, that angel. Shishido would then give him a simple roger that and takes off. As a Saiyan who survived in the darkness of Universe Zero, the Void Realm, for millions of years, his power is uncapped. Though Zodas is no slouch either. Their initial exchange of blows hurts Shishido more than it does the angel, of course. You aren't half bad at all, so don't hold back next time, okay? Let's go all out, Zodas states. Are you sure you don't want me to hold back? Shishido replies, and he was being honestly sincere. If you guys read and caught up with our Universe Zero fan manga, then you know all about Shishido at this point. Do it, Shishido. Go all out. I hate this grim atmosphere. Fill it with pure Saiyan sweat, Vegeta states. Sure thing, buddy, Shishido replies, and this is when he starts unleashing transformation after transformation until Shishido would eventually reach his pinnacle. A state of Saiyan existence that has never even been named before. He is a mythical being outside of Universe Zero and therefore can really only be referred to as such. Cloaked in raging flames, he is the mythical Super Saiyan, and what he's unleashed is an unnamed state. The fun ends here for Zodas, but it would just begin for Shishido. Goku couldn't stop himself from laughing because Shishido's transformation shifts the tide of emotions in the favor of the Saiyans once again. It lights a fire inside of their hearts, and the war would resume. So what do you think of this, Grand Priest? Gogeta asks. Killing all Saiyans will take the fun out of the multiverse. Everything will be so mundane. I guess it's a good thing you won't be here getting bored then, isn't it, Gogeta? You are right, though. Convince Goku to be the next Omni King and I'll excuse everything. Goku right now is the embodiment of emptiness. Him taking the throne will be enough to restore balance, the Grand Priest replies. Are you sure you should be talking about this so casually? I mean, the two Omni Kings are here, you know, Vegeta asks. Their sacrifice is a small price to pay. Goku is more interesting than them anyway. I'd rather be his attendant personally, the Grand Priest states. Meanwhile, it would seem that Goku's conscience is having a full-on conversation with Broly's soul. Go all out, Kakarot. I'll keep the chaos in check for you. We will win. For the first time ever, Broly actually finished a complete sentence, even if it was in his, conscious spirit room or whatever. Thanks, Goku says. Just leave everything to me. So he begins to completely let go. Goku allows the void to consume him because now he knows that he's not alone. Broly has his back. Then, just like how the Grand Priest overwhelmed everyone with his insane surge in power, Goku does similarly. He rivals the Grand Priest in terms of inflicting both awe and fear in the hearts of everyone. to be honest, this is really one of the only avenues where they could match the Grand Priest. If the Grand Priest is the mediator of the multiverse, then Goku is the single most cursed individual in existence. Seeing this, Zodas is left speechless. They thought Gogeta was the final boss. Shishido notices the unpleasant look on their face and declares, "This is only the awakening of the void." Now imagine if he somehow manages to master it. The Grand Priest's reign at the top will be over and we will have a new ruler of universal combat. And it looks like that just might be our guy Goku. Power, like anything, has its cost. You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into, the Grand Priest says. Does it even matter at this point? Goku replies. Yes, it absolutely does. Just absorb the two Omni Kings already and you might as well become the new Omni King, Goku. There is no other way out of this situation. Not just for you, but for everyone. The future depends on you making a rational decision, the Grand Priest states. Look, I don't care, Goku replies. Gogeta appears right next to Goku in that instant. Hey, he's right, you know. If this goes on, the multiverse will collapse. We have to be very careful about what we do from here on out, he says. Yeah, I know, but whatever, I'm not giving up my freedom. There must be another way out of this, Goku replies. By this point, the Grand Priest's nerves got the better of him. He moves at a level of speed that can't even be perceived by anyone but himself and lands a punch strong enough to rip apart the cosmos. The impact of that punch sends a wave of overwhelming force all throughout the Saiyan realm. Everyone sort of stops in their tracks to see what just happened. But for Goku, who had experienced the full weight of this blow, it was insignificant. The Grand Priest didn't punch Goku, he punched the void. This is never going to go anywhere. A battle between two individuals who command infinity? We can continue this for millennia and there still won't be a winner, the Grand Priest says. I don't disagree, but come on, Grand Priest. This isn't just between you and me. There is an entire war going on. Just surrender and let us take over the multiverse as the superior race, Goku replies. Calm down, Kakarot. Don't tell me the Omni King is getting to you again. Do not do anything foolish, Vegeta adds. Yeah, I'm calm. I'm the calmest I've ever been, Vegeta. If only you knew how hard it was to stay sane with this weird key all in your system right now, you would be a little bit more lenient with me, Goku replies. And he was right. Between him and the Grand Priest, one of them is the strongest right now, but while being invincible is second nature to the Grand Priest, it's not the same way with Goku. He's constantly in a state of mental and physical torture, but he also knows that there are only two options here. Either live with this pair or concede to the Grand Priest. Vegeta can also more or less tell what's going on too. He pats Goku's shoulder and says, "Listen, Kakarot, I'm willing to switch places with you whenever you want. A Battle of Thrones really doesn't suit you. I appreciate it, but let me be like this for a little while. I can tell that if me and Broly manage to master whatever this is, it might alleviate the pain," Goku replies. And hearing all of this, Gogeta would enter next. Wait, is what Vegeta said true? Is it really possible for someone to just switch places with you like that, Goku, he asks? It should be, right? I mean, this power never belonged to me in the first place, Goku states. Meanwhile, across the battlefield, the battle between Shishido and Zodas was heating up. Who is that Saiyan, Yamoshi comments. I believe he's the son of the first Yamoshi, Whis states. He and the second Vegeta have called it a truce for the time being. Yamoshi? Wait, you mean he's my son, Yamoshi asks? Whis laughs at this and then explains how the Saiyan race initially started in Universe 13. There once lived a man named Yamoshi who challenged the Omni King's brother Zenith at several points throughout his lifetime. Unfortunately, when Zeno erased the 6 universes, he would be erased along with them. But mere instances before the erasure of his existence, Yamoshi succeeded in using a forbidden celestial technique that allowed him to exile his newborn son out of the multiverse. That's how Shishido ended up in Universe 0. I see, so we're not related. Me and Yamoshi just happen to share the same name. Interesting, Yamoshi says. Who knows? My hypothesis is that Yamoshi's soul got stuck because of how he used that forbidden technique in his final moments, and therefore he reincarnated in Universe 7? I could be wrong though, Whis states. How do you know all of this, Whis? Vegeta asks. Oh, of course, well, my good friend Kashin here filled me in. I dislike being in the dark after all, Whis answers, while pointing to Kashin, an angel from Universe 0 who followed Shishido and Omni Goku and Vegeta here. By this point, the two Zenos didn't know what to think of everything going on right now. I mean, this is the type of crossover you could only get if you were on like an acid trip or something. The Grand Priest has been repeatedly telling Goku to absorb them and become a complete Omni King. Dragon God Zalama, do you think we should erase this universe, they ask? Please don't. Although if you were really going to do it, you wouldn't ask for my permission, would you? Zalama answers. Yes, but for some reason we can't imagine succeeding in erasing this universe. It must be because of Goku. He's polarizing our existence, therefore he must be purged first, they reply. Don't you think that could backfire though? I mean, even the Grand Priest has been appropriating his actions, Zalama says. Zalama was trying his best in making sure that the Omni Kings don't do anything until the Grand Priest, Goku, and Gogeta reach some sort of mutual agreement about everyone's fate here. Speaking of Gogeta, he has seriously started considering what it was that Vegeta said. Unlike Goku, he is the pinnacle of Saiyanhood, and a being who was born to rival the Grand Priest in the first place. If there is anyone who can master the void, it should be him, right? Goku, allow me to take over for you. I'll see to it that everything ends well, Gogeta says. No way, forget it. Why would I want to give up this much strength, Goku replies. Listen, kid, you're forgetting. I'm just you and Vegeta, but infinitely better. If you and Broly could control the chaos, it would be just mere child's play for me, Gogeta asserts. But Goku isn't ready to listen yet. My guess is right, he's not completely sane. The void is definitely influencing his personality, Vegeta says. You're right. It's funny, we all knew that it was impossible to control the void, but deep down, we still kept believing in Goku to figure it out somehow. How brutally arrogant of us to ask a friend to do the impossible, Shishido adds. He had already won his battle, but it's not like Zodas ever really stood a chance against him in the first place. Vegeta, Shishido, you keep saying that mastering the void is impossible, and I don't doubt it, but everything that's happening right now, including my existence, should be impossible. Yeah, that's right. I'm convinced that I can master the void. I'm the one responsible for this current universe, and I should be the salvation, Gogeta declares. Goku, on the other hand, is exchanging blows with the Grand Priest, or more like getting all his punches blocked and dodged. Their battle was intense. Even Gogeta couldn't help but appreciate the beauty of both of their movements, but then again, it's not like they're hurting each other. The two of them can keep this up for all eternity and there still wouldn't be a winner. It's just as the Grand Priest said, infinity cannot defeat infinity. And with the way things are, Goku is not going to master the void. Alright, well, we may need some outside involvement at this point. What if I do what Broly did and enter Goku's conscience? That should work, right? Gogeta wonders. I personally would recommend against that. You'll only enrage the chaos, Gogeta. You can't coexist with it, Shishido says. Yeah, I figured that would be the case, Gogeta replies. Well, we'll just have to wait until Kakarot passes out from exhaustion, and then I'll use my celestial technique to redirect the chaos to you, Vegeta states. Wait, you can do that? Shishido asks. Yes, it's a forbidden celestial technique, and that's exactly why I'm sure it'll work, Vegeta replies. Meanwhile, deep inside Goku's conscience, Broly has been putting in an inconceivable level of concentrated effort to keep the void from seeping out. He's the one circulating the flow throughout Goku's body right now. It's hard to believe, but he's acting kind of like the heart for Goku's Omni Ki system. But everyone has their limits, even Broly. I mean, it's crazy to even think that you can outsource something as strenuous as maintaining the flow of the void to a third-party soul. It was tearing Broly apart. Before long, he would pass out and the void is unleashed once again. For a split, tiny instance of time, a vision of Goku watching over everyone like an omnipotent being invokes restlessness in everyone's heart, almost as if he did become the Omni King in that second. However, that was just that, a vision. After Broly physically and mentally couldn't go on any longer, Goku tried to take the reins all by himself, and he did succeed, but only for that brief period of time. The void outlasts him and he passes out as well. He passes out right when the Grand Priest is about to land another blow to his gut. Now, if Goku were to experience this, he would have immediately died with his guard down, but conveniently Bardock saw this coming. Hence, right before it hits Goku, he blows his son out of the way of the attack using a powerful energy blast of his own. Seriously, great work, old man, Gogeta comments. Goku's body was free falling now. I mean, he had exhausted everything. For such a long period of time, he was in a physical and mental duel with the curse of the Omni Key, and eventually, it did win. He never wanted this. He'd rather get stronger by himself, not by some omnipotent curse. But for what it's worth, it's all soon finally gonna end now that Gogeta is ready to take his place. Vegeta would go on to perform his reverse string entanglement technique, but his instincts stop him from following through with it, leading us to believe that he fears getting consumed by the void as well. He looks around the entire battlefield and notices both the second Vegeta and Zeno Vegeta. They notice the look in his eyes and immediately pull up to help him. Those two place their hands on his back as Vegeta once again tries to perform the technique. This time it would work, using two other versions of himself made the impossible possible. He not only succeeds in taking the void out and redirecting it to Gogeta, but he also manages to extract Broly out of Goku as well. Just like that, the new ruler of Universal Combat is finally decided. The void was the result of future Zeno's mistake. Gogeta emerged because of the Grand Priest mistake, and now that the two entities are together, the fate of the multiverse is in the hands of but one individual now. Omni Gogeto has finally been born. Still, something doesn't feel right. I can feel the void, but I don't think it's been fully internalized yet, Gogeta declares. But what would happen next is something no one, not even the Grand Priest or Zalama himself, could have anticipated or predicted. The soul of the first Yamoshi that got stuck in the unknown because of the forbidden celestial technique finds a way out thanks to Vegeta's technique. And ultimately, now he's entered Gogeto's conscience, catapulting these two to the very pinnacle of existence itself. Indeed, somehow, some way, the void had finally been mastered. When this happened, Shishito caught a glimpse of his father in Gogeta. Father, he says. Yamoshi, on the other hand, would burst out laughing seeing this. I knew it! I'm no reincarnation. Looks like you were wrong for once, Whis. Well, even the most intelligent individual can't hypothesize everything, Whis replies. But the Grand Priest would then approach Gogeta next, looks him in his eye and says, "You guys somehow just keep making this more and more difficult for me. Relax, you can rest now. I'll handle everything from here on out," Gogeta declares. His words carried a weight unlike anything the Grand Priest had ever experienced before. Just what is he planning on doing? Grand Priest would finally step up, fully intent on still holding his ground and unaware that he may have been somewhat outclassed finally. "You keep amusing me, Gogeta," the Grand Priest says, clearly frustrated as he waves his finger. "But what do you mean? You'll be handling everything from here on out." Gogeta, strangely enough, didn't even feel the need to reply. He just stares right back into the Grand Priest's eyes, and without even realizing it, the Grand Priest kneels before him. In the face of the one who now reigns absolute in the multiverse, the Grand Priest's body subconsciously improvised his movements and kneeled to Gogeta like he was supposed to. "Oh, come on, Grand Priest. You don't have to do all that. I thought we were already friends," Gogeta states. While everyone, and I mean everyone in the vicinity, angels, Saiyans alike, are completely lost for words. Who would have thought that an all-powerful being like the Grand Priest could be brought to a knee with nothing but a glare? It didn't make any sense. Zalama grins like a Greek dragon while the two Zeno Kings have fallen unconscious. Now that a superior individual harboring the Omni Key was present, there was no longer a need for them to be awake, so the multiverse itself kinda shut them both down. Goku, who was finally relieved of the void thanks to Gogeta, wakes up with a clear head. Ever since the Omni Key first cursed him, he had been living with the most brutal migraine and brain fogginess. "Aw man, I could really go for a nice piece of steak right now," he says, but when he notices that they are still in the middle of this all-out war, he's kinda disappointed. "Relax, Kakarot, it's already over. The only thing left to decide is the fate of this universe and beyond, I guess," Vegeta replies. "Oh yeah, I remember now. You extracted that curse out of me, didn't you, Vegeta? I always knew you had my back," Goku says. "You seem to be in an oddly good mood today. I haven't seen that stupid look on your face in a while," Vegeta replies. "Oh yeah, I feel like I had a full night's sleep. I see Gogeta has everything under control now," Goku states. As for the Grand Priest, Gogeta orders him to stand up at attention again. "Alright, I admit, you have done the impossible, Gogeta. I'll be serving as your Grand Priest from here on out, it seems. For you have become the next Omni King. Looks like you don't even need to absorb the two Zenos over there either. My apologies for underestimating the zeal of your race, Gogeta. Let us make the multiverse a better place than it ever was," the Grand Priest states. "No need, my friend. While that does sound exciting, I finally see it now. I may have won, but we did end up relying on an outside force. Unless a Saiyan completely defeats you in a 1 versus 1 with his own innate strength, this battle will never be over," Gogeta declares. "You say that, but it's impossible. As long as we're inside this multiverse, the only one who can defeat me is a superior authority, meaning you. But you have already relied on an infinite void, which means that this battle is over," the Grand Priest replies. "Not quite. You see them over there? The Goku and Vegeta from Universe 0. And also that Shishido guy who made light work of your trump card 13th Angel or whatever. One day, millions of years from now, you'll fight them. And you will lose," Gogeta asserts. This is not just confidence in Goku and Vegeta or faith or anything like that. No. When his body connected with the void, Gogeta saw a vision. A vision of what the absolute pinnacle of his race can and will look like in the future. So just as Goku and Vegeta listen closely, he utters those words, Super Saiyan Infinity. The Grand Priest, however, is still a little skeptical, but purely out of respect for Gogeta, he simply replies, "I guess my alternate future self should start looking forward to that." But what do you plan on doing with this realm and all of the timelines you just mashed together? Things are a bit too convoluted right now. The multiverse requires a complete redesign and fast. Yes, I know. I do plan on seeing everything through till the end, but would you be interested in a quick exchange of blows? I like to test out the limits of this body and also show my people what a true Saiyan is capable of, Gogeta asks, and the Grand Priest ends up agreeing. Zalama creates a limitless space within the battlefield that seems like a finite sphere from the outside, but is infinite if you're inside. Much like the timeless domain the Grand Priest conjured up a few days ago, which resulted in Gogeta in the first place. Everyone watches in pure awe and fascination as these two absolute beings gracefully dodge each other's moves with pinpoint precision and accuracy. And I know what some of you guys are probably thinking, how is anybody on this battlefield keeping up with a single move these two are making? Well, my boy Zalama was mindful enough to install a special slow-mo monitor right next to the octagon for everybody's convenience. Zodas would clench their fist. Damn it. Now I know he wasn't even half as serious when he was looking down on me, they say, while addressing the Grand Priest. Shishido, on the other hand, breaks out in a hysterical laughter. It made no sense. By Super Saiyan Infinity, you mean to say that there's still a higher level out there? Is that it, Gogeta, he states? Goku and Vegeta can't stop grinning. From the revived Broly, Zykor, Yamoshi, to Gohan, Bardock, future Trunks, King Vegeta, and all of the Saiyans that have ever existed, they could all feel it in their souls that this may look like a simple sparring session, but in actuality, it was a speech to every Saiyan ever. With each movement, Gogeta is showing them the levels of power that have existed. Right now, he sits atop the multiverse alone, but even he can be surpassed. Just that idea alone was enough to light everyone's heart ablaze. Now this is what I call a King Vegeta adds. From start to finish. The battle only lasted about 3 minutes, but it was enough for Gogeta to convey everything he wanted to convey. Now to take care of all of the mess I've created. Lord Zalama, will you lend me your pet dragon for a moment? Gogeta asks. Sure, but come on, man, don't call it my pet dragon. It's more like my brother, Zalama replies. Suddenly, Super Shenron would be summoned. Usually, he tries to look for the voice that called him, but this time, there was no need. The one who called him was Zalama himself, and all it took him was one look to discern that the most important individual right now is Gogeta. What do you want, Gogeta? I'll grant any wish, but as a penalty for not summoning me through the Super Dragon Balls, I will be using your energy to fulfill the wish. Do not complain, as this is not up for debate, Super Shenron states. Sounds good to me, but since you're gonna use my energy anyway, how about you just lend me your powers? It'll make things a lot easier, Gogeta states, and surprisingly enough, Super Shenron decides to roll with it. Super Shenron would quite literally leave his own massive golden body and enter Gogeta as a soul. This instantly gives Gogeta the ability to do pretty much anything he could think of. Anything. At this point, the Grand Priest and Zalama both kinda know they really can't say much to Gogeta with all the dumb power-ups he's gotten over the past hour, so it's kinda better to just let him fix the mess. Gogeta would then take flight and go high up into the Saiyan realm, where he then begins to do something so cool they gotta incorporate this in the future of Dragon Ball. Gogeta would begin to manifest a spherical orb in his right hand using the energy of creation. Everyone's eyes are on him, and then, right as everyone catches a glimpse of Super Shenron behind Gogeta, he launches that sphere of creation right at them. Nobody knew whether they were gonna live or die, and yet no one was scared. They were all prepared for whatever fate awaited them. The bomb is followed by a bright ray of light which envelops everything in Universe 13 and even beyond. Be it an angel or a Saiyan, everyone's existence begins to dissipate, including the Grand Priest. The only ones still unfazed by this are the inhabitants of Universe 0. Goku, Vegeta, Shishido, and the Angel Kashin. And of course, the Dragon God Zalama himself. The Grand Priest and the Zeno duo are also fading out of existence. Goku would catch a glimpse of Bardock right as he completely disappears. The two of them would grin. They know that nothing has truly ended for anyone today. Before long, Universe 13 would be completely erased. The Goku and Vegeta duo, who were serving as Vegito during this Gogeta fusion, are returned to the time where they were fighting against Goku Black and Zamasu again. Just what did you do, Gogeta? Tell us. I'm sure Kashin and Lord Zalama here are pretty curious too, Shishido asks. Well, this is a secret, but Goku, Vegeta, listen to me. The reason I am taking myself out of the picture is to make sure that you two continue to grow. Vegeta, you vowed in front of the Grand Priest and said that one day you'll return and defeat him. You make sure you realize that destiny, Gogeta replies. Sure, but what about you? You aren't gonna just up and disappear, right? Vegeta asks. Exactly right. I've used up all my life fumes to revert the multiverse back to what it was before my own emergence. Everything is completely normal now. Well, it'll be completely normal once I'm gone. That's like the last thing, Gogeta replies. I see. Well, it's a shame, but looks like we'll be the only ones who will remember what you did, Gogeta, Goku states, while bringing out his hand for a handshake. Gogeta shakes his hand, bumps fists with Shishido, and gives Vegeta a thumbs up. And just like that, he would also disappear. Super Shenron's soul goes back into his own body, and he immediately undoes his summoning. Lord Zalama would then take Kashin, Shishido, Goku, and Vegeta back to Universe 0. But simultaneously at that exact moment, unbeknownst to everyone else here, our 3 remaining Saiyans would have a linked vision where they catch a glimpse of an unknown land. A land of warriors and conquests. Countless Saiyans are seen fighting each other, sparring, laughing, drinking, and focusing on bettering themselves, and there, standing amidst all of them, is a familiar face. It's Gogeta. He didn't undo anything at all. Just like how Universe Zero exists outside of the multiverse, it looks like Gogeta found a way to kinda unplug the Saiyan realm from the multiverse as well. Oh come on, I'm not going anywhere until I see this Super Saiyan Infinity myself, Gogeta laughs hysterically. Ultimately, Goku, Vegeta, Shishido, and Kashin would arrive at Universe Zero thanks to Zalama. Now I think it's about time that Goku and Vegeta get back to teaching Shishido's son a lesson once and for all. But as long as the multiverse is back under control, that as well as the story of Super Saiyan Infinity are gonna have to be for another time as we finally conclude our What If Gogeta and Vegito Fuse saga. And if you were ever confused at any point during this What If, don't worry, I got you guys on the entire What If Gogeta and Vegito Fuse story dropping soon.